This is extremely annoying.
Just leave it. And we'll just record and keep going.
You want me to end it or?
Well, no, we're gonna just keep
going.
going.
It's recording, right? Does it say that on the top right?
Mhm.
Okay. We'll do it. Okay, I'd like to call the monthly village board meeting, November 18th at 4:32. I would like trustee Root to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I see we have a bit of a crowd. I don't know. Would anyone who cares to speak, would they take your turn? 2 minutes limit on each of you, just in the present, the sake of time. Kathy, sure, your hand went up first.
I'm Kathy Munsell. I work at the Fort William Henry. And I just wanted to come to say thank you to, I guess I'll call it forward thinking relative to filling the gap of what's needed to keep this, to invest in our residents and invest in our future relative to a year-round business. And as one business, I want to thank all of you for stepping to the plate on those lights, which are free, which is great for residents alike. And we need to keep that going so that we can fill the schools and, people can afford to live here, et cetera, and we can keep people employed. Very big move, very brave move. It's not easy. We know that. I'm sure you got some flack from people. But I wanted to say as a business person, we've gone through it, trying. This could really hit home for letting other people participate, just like the DRI, more people will bring investments into for the stability that you've brought forth. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Well, Maria?
I can actually.
Sure.
Add to it. I'm a business owner as well, Capivero. And we are very grateful as well for this opportunity for us to for the lights, for the ice skate ring. We'll bring a lot of people here, and we're looking forward to all the fun and excitement that it will bring. And also as a mother and a local, I hope to have some family fun experience too.
Good. Thank you, Maria. You're next. Hey, Allison, someone wants to
Oh,
get in.
thank you. Sorry, I was listening.
My name's John Fox. I'm a resident of the village over on West Street. And I heard rumor you were going to talk about the lights. So I wanted to come down and thank the mayor and thank each of the village trustees. I think it's a great idea. I was born and raised in Albany, and I've been through the Washington Park, and if those are the same lights, they're going to look spectacular. So thank you. It's a great idea. And also special thanks to the village and town workers who've been working on the lights in my walks through the village. I've been watching, and they're doing a lot of hard work in addition to all the other great work that they do in the village. So thank you.
Thank you. Dean, why not?
Yeah, I have a question. I was glad to see the ice skating rink, because they used to have one down there that they couldn't keep the water in it a lot, so it would get warm and be gone. Is the bottom of that, is that you skate on?
Yes, that's
Okay, so
synthetic
that
ice.
is I skated on once playing hockey. And I said, well, it looks similar, but it's been a few years.
Yeah,
So, yeah, well, I think that'd be good for the little kids, right? Because you can do it rain, shine, or.
but I've been in contact with the high school, at least the high school for now, to do field trips. So they can, it's a bit too short for a gym class, but they're gonna plan on some, once we get our, waivers organized, we have it in front of our attorney right now, but once we get that organized, the school is gonna do field trips, two separate field trips.
Well, I also, I'm glad to see the village partaking in, you had some professional groups that were coming in that a little bit too expensive, I think, for what they wanted. The show was nice, but So now it's, well, you're gonna put it out and hopefully the businesses in town, there's always some here that always help out.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping all the rest sort of pitch in too and make it go better. So,
Thank you, yes. Mr. Bellinger, I saw your hand first, sorry.
Yeah, Tom Bellinger, live on Macomb Street, the village, and, as a hobby, I have an Instagram page that has about 17,000 followers. Strictly just something I've done on my own, but I get a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
I'm one of your
So, I
followers.
Spend a lot of time, yep, you're there, and walking around the village. And after 2 years of what we've had with this, the displays, we need a success. We can't keep asking people to come up here from Albany or Schenectady or wherever they're coming from. And not really be able to give them anything largely because of the weather. We have the lights, you can walk through those. If it's warm, like it has been for the last 2 winters, that's really good time for a family to be able to walk through there. And you've got the skating, maybe someday there could be a bigger skating rink. But let's find out how this one does. But we have something done. It's solid. You know, cost is the cost, that's life in there. Let's see where it carries us, but we do need a win in the village, and I think we're on a good pace for it.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, Peter's hand went up first and then Gina.
Peter Gitarelli, 11 Latham Road, and I moved up here a few years ago from Schenectady. And so we used to pray for cold weather, so we get out of ice on Central Park in our pond. Is something to do for the kids. Folks would come in from Niskayuna, Glenville, our neighboring towns. And it was pretty cool when I saw the ice rink go up. I'm in the food service industry and just talking to some of our restaurant customers up here. Having it timed almost, whether it was accidental or not, with the thunder starting. But you know, with hockey being such a growth sport and just, this is just recreational and it's fun to have the outdoor sport, have the outdoor skating is pretty tremendous. And I heard it out this weekend when I was out at the Garrison on Friday night saying, when the heck did this ice rink come up? So the timing of it coming up early was pretty smart. Well, we've got, and especially we still had a lot of folks coming up. And then, you know, we spent a lot of years going to the lights in the park in Albany as well. So when seeing some of these come up, pretty reminiscent. And I did a lot of work with Quick Response Fire Restoration. They're out in Ballston Spa and they do a free light display every year. It's been growing and growing. And when Albany shut down, theirs grew exponentially. But Vince who owns the place said he gets thousands and thousands of people who come from up north to come down to there. Now we've got a place in our own backyard, which is pretty cool that I think the restaurants and again, as Kathy said in the previous speaker spot, we just need folks up here in the wintertime. We've got the beautiful winter setting, and when everybody from Schenectady asks why the heck do I like it up here in the winter? I like it better up here in the winter, and to have a few more things like this added to our you know, added to our portfolio of attractions. It's just, it's going to bridge that gap that we need to get into February when the winter stuff starts happening. So really great forethought and love the fact that it was put up early for some good advertising. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Peter. Gina, I think, or Kieran, either way.
So a couple of times a week, I walk the river walk, the lake walk, and through Battlefield Park and Charleswood Park. And every time I've done that in the last few weeks, I notice more and more light display, holiday light displays set up. And you know,
That's okay. Take your time.
Okay. Yeah, more and more lights go. You're old.
yeah, so anyway, I wasn't the only one who was, I doubt I was the only one that was concerned when we heard that Winter Realm and Winter,
Dreams.
the other
Dreams.
winter display was, not coming back this year. But I think with this new light display, I think that this light up the village is not just gonna light up the parks and the streets, but it's gonna light up the inside of shops, restaurants, hotel rooms that otherwise may have remained dark with the void that was caused by these attractions leaving. So I just wanted to say thank you Mayor Perry and everyone involved who really quickly and efficiently filled the gap that was caused by these attractions leaving.
Thank you, Karen. Gina,
So I'm
There
gonna
you are.
pivot and say thanks to Dan Baruch, Mayor Perry, and everybody that's been involved and have come out throughout the DRI process. We're on the down low. We're getting ready for our last meeting this week. We've got a great list of projects. It's been a really interesting ride for over more than a year and a half or almost 2 years of this project. But I know a lot of residents have come out, throughout the village and the town. And it's been a lot of time and effort by local residents who've been a part of this whole project. And thank you for everyone who's been involved. And those of you who put up your projects for this, hopefully you'll visit the Lake George DRI website to see, what is happening with all of this. But thank you all. And Dan, especially because he's led a big part of making sure that the projects will actually get through the state process. So thank you.
every gray hair on Dan's head
I know.
has been a result of
It's
this.
our fault. Yes.
Thank you. Mark?
I'm Mark French, I own the Lagoon Restaurant in Lake George. Just also want to say thank you to you guys for, keeping up and every year doing something more for us. I stay open all year round, 7 days a week to keep my employees. And, it's very important to keep them because it's hard to get people to come work for you, in a seasonal business. And I'm not sure what you.
Oh, Kieran.
What he's talking about with the lights coming down through Canada Street is huge for us because it looks like a ghost town sometimes. And I'm in the Village Mall and it's really, really hard for me to get people to even know that we're open. So this having all those lights on, it's attractive. It's when you first drive in, it really promotes what we should look like as a village. And thank you all for all the hard work that you guys have done. And I think it's gonna work out really, really well with all this going on. Just want to say thank you. Let you know how important it is that you guys work for us.
Thanks, Mark. Sasha? Long time no see.
Yeah, Sasha Party, I own Adirondack Winery on Canada Street in the village, and I just want to throw my support out there for this project too. When Winter's Realm and Winter's Green went away, that was really nerve wracking for us. Like the Lagoon, we're a year round operating business. It is hard to keep a full-time staff employed year round. And it was honestly a tough summer with foot traffic, particularly on Canada Street. So the lack of that, I'm hoping, to have just better presence in the winter time and not lose some of the ground that was lost over the last couple of years. So I would say we went to quick response many times. There's a lot of growth with that, like this gentleman was saying. And also the lights in Albany, I know a lot of people are missing that. And that was, a big deal. I think it's a big deal to have that coming down here. And I think there will be a lot of buzz about that, especially once it's active. And I also love the ice skating rink on Beach Road parking lot is a fantastic idea that it's in the parking lot. And also gonna look out over the lake, like that's gonna be really cool. And I think people will like that. So thank you.
Thank you. It's got a pretty good backdrop, right?
Yes.
Luke?
Yeah, Luke Dow, my family owns a steamboat company. Obviously, we're one of the ones that close up during the winter time. It's tough to run boats. Hopefully, if the lake is frozen. But I've heard Mark many a night, kind of emote to me about the struggles of, being open. And I've talked to the guys at CarQuest last couple of winters where there's no snow. CarQuest, Adirondack Tire, everyone's losing business because whether you believe it's human or not, just look outside, winters ain't what they used to be.
Sure.
Lack of snow, lack of ice, just lack of things to do up here. And so, anything that we can do to bring people in this time of year to help businesses like Mark's and Sasha's and everyone else who stay open during the winter, just because it's tough. We don't have the local year-round population as we used to, and winters, lack of snow and whatnot. I will say, I remember going to Bandon out in Oregon in the Bandon Dunes, and there's a little house out there with this huge flower garden. It's got multiple acres, like tens of thousands of Christmas lights there. And people flock to there in droves. And if there's one thing about Oregon that they're famous for in the winter, it's rain, not snow. So the fact that they can get all these people just with just a crap load of lights, I mean, it's insane. I'll send you photos. I mean, if we can make it even bigger and just make a true spectacle out of it, involve the whole town somehow, I think that would help to go a long way to solving our winterless woes. So, but I think it's a damn good start. And I applaud us for you guys for doing something rather than, you know, just shutting down like they.
Yeah, thank you, Luke. Carolee?
Karen Abruzzo, I own Shady Business in the Village. When I'm open on the weekends, I talk to everybody that comes in. My first thing is to tell them about come back for Lake George, February's Winter Carnival. But people are excited because they see all these lights now. And it looks great. I mean, there's more in the park. You're gonna have a great, after Thanksgiving,
The light up the
Light Up
village.
Village. And I have a question. Is that Friday and Saturday or just Saturday? Because
Saturday night.
it is Saturday.
Saturday night.
'Cause I know some places are saying Friday, but I don't see anything else going on.
Yeah, they always get it wrong.
Right. People are excited, they just want to come up and, if they're, at least like 2 hours away. You can get somebody in the car with the kids to come up and do that and spend the night to do that. So I just want to say thank you for doing that because, when I'm there, I like to see people walking around because it gets, pretty lonely just waiting for them to come in the door. So thank you very much for all your efforts. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Last but not least, Linda Duffy.
I just got here, so I'm in agreement with the three classrooms. I don't know what was said before that, but I think the lights are a great start of doing some encouraging some winter business up here. Like Lucas said, the winters are not what they used to be. And it's hard to keep the lights on and people working. And every little bit that you guys can do is appreciated, and we appreciate what you do. And we've got some new blood on the board, and it's nice to see some people that are kind of understanding a little bit more about it. And while I'm speaking, I don't know what your thoughts about this, but if you're gonna promote this, I mean, I think promoting, and I know the meters are not what is the word? I know they're not I know. I know they're not enforced this time of year, but you know what? If you promoted that instead of just not saying it, you would get more people, even from Glens Falls, Albany, to come up, and especially now with the lights and everything else. Have them come up, welcome them up, come up, part of this whole big thing of these lights and stuff. Have them come up, start promoting that, come up. Don't worry about the parking meters, from say November 1st to March 1st or whatever, but this winter time, there's not a lot going on up here. There's only a few of us that are open and we're struggling. And, business brings business. So, we encourage everybody that's got their lights open to have them open, and because people do walk around, but we need help sometimes. And this whole lighting thing, I think is great. The ice skating rink is awesome. Winter Carnival, we're losing things in Winter Carnival that we're not able to do sometimes, with the lack of ice. We haven't had races on the lake in, I think, 5 years.
Yeah.
Or done anything on the lake in 5 years. So we've got to start being a little bit more creative, and I think that's a great start. But I really I think that if you guys could try to, I know you don't enforce it. And I mean, I gotta tell you, I tell people when they're parking out front and they're not trying to put money in the thing, I'm like,
You're
and
the
they
one.
appreciate it. You don't know how much they appreciate it. But I think that's part of, this whole thing that you can do is just say, come on up and park for free. We're not charging for meters, and enjoy the winter up there in Lake George, because it is beautiful. We live in a beautiful area.
Let me just add to that. That's a really good point, because I don't know if you guys have seen all the bad press about Saratoga the last couple of weeks. With not giving any free parking. It's got a lot of negative media, so that would be something for us to counteract.
Yeah, okay.
All together.
Yeah, we'll have to have that as a topic for discussion. definitely, something to consider. Marissa? Have you,
Have my hand up.
oh, I thought maybe you wanted to say something, and you're just here.
No.
Okay, welcome, glad you're here. All right, so I guess, that being said, thank you everyone for the kind words and the well wishes, and we appreciate, being, acknowledged for what we're trying to do. So I'll get on with, the agenda and.
Right, for my, and this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
something that we're looking to try to build onto for the future too, so. What's out there now is just a start, so, you know, we're still gonna rack around some more ideas to expand, this whole lighting thing,
Mhm.
so.
So I will take a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting on October 21st, 2024. As typed.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as typed.
Okay, motion by trustee Root. Is there a second?
I can second it.
Seconded by trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye, carries. Monthly reports, are made, will be made available to anyone free of charge. We have the superintendent of public works, the sanitation department, planning, zoning and code enforcement. Excuse me, pardon me. Meter and dock revenues, Caldwell Sewer District, financial statements, director of events, rec center and fire department. As I said, all of those will be made to you, free of charge if you would like to see copies. Before I get into resolutions, I would like to get Dan out of here. But I also.
Before you go, the monthly reports, you
Mhm.
can see one from the director of special events or the.
It says director of events.
Direct,
I think it's probably a typo. They didn't put special in there.
but I mean, I didn't see a report.
Oh,
a
I think
report
there
from
is.
him,
I don't know. Let's see.
Or
number
was there a letter of resignation?
two. Not yet. I'm expecting that next month. But I wouldn't want to rush anyone. Do we have it or no?
I'm pretty sure.
Let me see the effective. There was some information about the committee. But I imagine did that come from
These are
him?
your events coordination for town and village.
That's not it. Well, if that's his report, then I'd be happy to accept
That's-
it. then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
I think so.
That's what I was given.
Okay. I don't know, it had his name.
Oh,
on it.
wait, no.
This is.
This was handed to me, but this is not it. I thought.
No, this was handed to me by you, right? No? You didn't hand this to me?
That is not his report. That is about the committee.
Okay. Well, we'll make that, make
I
that
do.
available to you once we, get it. I wouldn't have had it on email unless he emailed it directly to you. He didn't CC me on anything, so.
And that's it. That's what I thought was his report. So I saw the events on it.
Mhm. Okay. Well, we'll make sure that, if said event,
When we get it.
monthly report exists, then we will get it to you directly.
And just so you know, there was one missing, Tim Shaw had forgotten to send it, so it's in your
Oh, this.
documents there.
Mhm.
Okay, so that one was missing. I knew that was missing out of there this morning.
Right.
All right, Dan, take it away.
All right, I will try to keep this as succinct as possible, and if you guys have questions as we go, let me know.
Before you get started, I just wanted to stay to the board. I would be remiss in saying thank you for coming and spending some extra time explaining the DRI, and sorry it hasn't happened sooner. It's been a whirlwind of activities in my seat and yours as well.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, I was here in September, which what I would call the last update. But there have been some changes, and as we're finalizing the slate, thought it would be a good idea to come to you guys, give you a primer on what is in the final slate, and answer any questions you might have. So I printed you out slides from the latest PowerPoint from the LPC meeting that we just had, which was a week or so ago. There is another meeting coming up
Tomorrow. Yeah.
over there at 5 p.m. That is the 6th and final LPC meeting. So that is the meeting at which the committee will actually vote on the slate and kind of round this thing up and wrap it up. Then the document, the strategic investment plan, which is the document that we create, goes to the state, right? Goes to all of the. So there's slides, slide deck from that presentation from the 4th, is this packet. There is an 11 by 17 sheet with a map and a table on it, which summarizes all the public projects. I'm not going over the private projects tonight, just the public ones. And if you want me to go over the town ones, I can quickly, but I'm really here just to go over the village sponsored projects. And if there isn't any questions yet, then I will start going from this slide deck. Okay. First project, which is probably one of the most important and one of the highest rated ones from the public, both at the workshop and on the survey online, the reconstruction of the amphitheater. Right now, this is in the application or the package for DRI for a total cost of 2.5 million. That includes much more than just the amphitheater structure and the seating work that we're proposing, basically refacing, repointing, and strengthening up the rows of the amphitheater seating that are there. It includes a new structure, a band shell, whatever you want to call it, which also comes with a subsurface basement, primarily for storage of all different types of things. It also comes with a complete reworking of this site proximate to the structure itself, a new playground, ADA compliant pathways, some new lighting, some new audio visual on the structure itself. Like I said, repointing and resurfacing of all of the amphitheater seating rows, as well as the addition of some new small sections of rows, really up on the bank there, you know, which the cliff I'm talking about, to enhance the seating in that area so people are not all sitting on the slope. It includes a pad at the top of the park for, what do they call it? Back of house or front of house?
Front of house music.
House productions.
Yeah.
Obviously some new utility work. We need some lighting. We're gonna connect the building to water, sewer, gas. So that whole package in the application for 2.5 includes a lot of contingency. About $500,000 in contingency. So the cost of the project is not really 2.5.
Okay.
It's closer to 2 million. And there's about $500,000 in contingency in there, which was really a request of New York State, put in 20 or 25%. We're asking DRI for 1.5 with the expectation that we will get the Northern Borders grant we applied for, which is $500,000. And the rest of the cost, whatever we need to use of the contingency pot, will be coming from the insurance claim that I think has yet to be settled.
Still hasn't been settled. They've given us 100,000 to cover costs thus far, like our cleanup and the rental of the stage. But there's more to come. They've offered us a little less than I'm comfortable with, so we have some folks looking into it for us for pricing and whatnot.
Okay. So the second page in the slide is an old rendering that came from our landscape architect. Basically, the week after the thing burned down, we came up with something on the fly to put into DRI. There is a new concept design that is pretty close to what I would call a complete concept. It will likely be unveiled at we're gonna have a public workshop sometime in early December. Both boards.
It's the 12th?
12th.
I think it's the 12th.
Both boards will be there. We're inviting the public, all the partners that have been sitting on the committee. So I think around that time, everybody will be able to see what we've come up with. We did take a look at it last week, and I'm happy and proud to say that the design of the structure is actually quite close to what was there prior. There's a couple new features. The roof line is a cool new different look. But we've kept a lot of the points and premise of the old structure, the clear see-through, the visibility through the thing to the lake and the mountains behind is incorporated. We've been listening to all the comments, concerns, questions from the community that uses it. So the Arts Project, the Lake George Community Band, the Lake George Arts Festival, or the Music Festival, all of the people that utilize it have been part of the discussion and helping us to kind of whittle down the needs and wants of that project. This is scored really high from the public through the public participation process. So we're feeling good about it, getting awarded through DRI.
So I have a question.
Yep.
So on our agenda.
Yep.
We have a couple of approvals for
Resolution, yep.
resolutions for CT mail, geotechnical, so that was due to the basement, and will that be?
I'm gonna stay around for the first handful of resolutions, so I'll be here to talk about those.
All right.
It's relative to some of the work that has to be done. Yes, for subsurface and archaeology, which is just a must. We all know that here at this point.
Yeah.
So I'll go over that when we get to that point. The next project is the South Canada Streetscape Project, which was, I think, a brainchild of Mayor Blaze years ago. I remember being asked to apply for a grant 7-8 years ago from him for this project. We had been unsuccessful every single time we tried up to this point. This also scored very, very high. I believe it was one of the top scorers from all the public projects, really because of the transformational nature that comes along with these transit-oriented design projects. If you guys remember the town project that we did, the Gateway project, we put in the sidewalks, the lights, the stormwater, all of that. This is effectively an extension of that project, right? So our project stopped at the town-village boundary, which is Westbrook. Years ago, the village did streetscape enhancements projects in the heart of the village proper. So it stopped at Canada coming south at the beach and McGillis intersection where the visitor center is. There's this gap there. I talked about this last time I was here. The gap has a lack of lighting, pedestrian infrastructure. The sidewalks are terrible. They're old macadam. None of it is ADA compliant. There's no landscaping whatsoever. It's just, pardon my French, an ugly strip of road that we have right in the heart of the village. And it's the gateway connector between the town and the village. So we propose extending effectively or connecting the dots between the two projects. It's gonna be complete with stormwater, landscaping, pedestrian amenities, probably a few new bus stops or shelters, stormwater infrastructure. We've got partners lined up to jump in on this project. The LGA, the Park Commission, several different entities want to partner up on this project and be a part of it. Again, high cost project. It's a transportation job. We're ripping up the road. We're putting in granite curbs, the whole nine. $2.5 million, again, includes a large chunk of contingency. We are asking them for $2 million. The difference, $561,000, is contingency. So if we do need to use contingency, there will be a little money out of pocket towards this project. If we need no contingency, this will be fully funded. Right now, I'm working behind the scenes to try to get DOT to come up with the difference so that we don't have to be on the hook for contingency. They're getting $2 million worth of work to their road. All the least they could do is chip in $500,000. So we're working on it. We've got a couple of good connections with DOT that are seeming like it's likely, but that won't get flushed out until next year's TIP update, Transportation Improvement Plan update.
And once that gateway was finished, that area just went from looking bad to worse. It's really quite a.
In the middle, yeah,
It's a bad
yeah,
transition.
yep. I would say the only thing that's good or has been touched in that strip was the crosswalk being,
Crosswalks,
you know, and that's, you know, we're seeing now, just now, we're seeing the ADA enhancements to the intersections. That's a DOT project. We tried to get them to hold off on it so we could incorporate it into this job. They didn't want to. It is what it is. But there might be a few less dollars needed for this project because they're working on that now. So, but their DOT is excited about this project.
Just something for future reference
Yep.
with this project, if it gets chosen.
Yep.
This is the strip that gets ripped up during car show.
Yep.
And so I'm wondering if in the design that can be thought about as far as like trying to decrease that.
We've mentioned decrease the impact on the pavement. Yes. We you know, can we address the actions? That's a separate question. We have mentioned very preliminarily to the DOT staff we've been talking to about the money, that we are considering some enhanced pavement coating or preservation technique on this strip.
Mhm.
They have a few ideas. Some they think would work. It really is a question of how long it will hold up,
Yeah,
you know, and how after a project like this is done, how we can help ourselves by enforcing, you know, I think mitigation of burnouts on a brand new strip of road.
yeah.
It's kind of a dual aspect to try to make sure that doesn't happen to the brand new pavement.
But maybe even like, I see like trees here kind of along the line, but maybe that's something where we talk to the business owners. We're creating more of an aspect there where it's not people can just sit and watch out at the road at that point. Cause that's why it happens there.
Yeah.
Is the mess.
crowds.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
more of like stuff going in on the side to kind of control that, so people aren't like wanting to come out onto the road where people are burning out, just kind of controlling that. I don't know if that
They'll
can get
find
put
a
in
way.
this, but
People will find a way to be there, whether they're under the trees or behind them.
Sure.
But the street tree landscaping not only helps beautification, it helps traffic calming.
right,
It helps obviously with our urban forests and sequestering carbon. There's obviously a laundry list of benefits that come along with these street trees. But probably the most important is beautification.
yeah,
And that strip of road really needs it,
sure.
really needs it. Any other questions on this one?
Hey, Dan, I know it's state route are 30 miles an hour when we hit that point.
Yep.
With New York State, in your dealings with DOT.
Yep.
You know, the reverse speed bump or a rumble.
Yep.
Will they be open to anything of that
Sure.
nature?
Sure. You know, with these big projects, the one I just went over, this one and the next one, there is a intricate design process that's gonna play out after the money is awarded to the project. So this job probably won't even get started, shovels in the ground until 27, because we have to go through a heavy detailed design process, a back and forth with DOT, public workshops, the whole gamut. The same thing we did with Gateway. Gateway took 5 years to get a shovel in the ground. This is a little smaller than that, so it probably will be a bit more expedited. But the design process, just like with the bandstand, there's a process that goes in after we're awarded to get the public involved, to flush out the design, get all our partners and stakeholders lined up and on the same page. Something like that comes out in the design process.
Sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Even the planted median, you know, it's in the rendering because we wanted to have a nice picture. It's possible we don't have the width for that. We have to look at all these things when we get through the design stage of the project. So this third one, which is probably the last big cost one, is the Shepherd Park Lake Walk and the observation deck, both in Shepherd Park. We've been talking about the lake walk for a while. We've already been awarded $125,000 to design this thing. This is, if anyone doesn't remember, it's the reutilization of the southern portion of Shepherd Park Beach, which can no longer be swam in because of the underwater cliff, effectively the grade change that occurs there. It's been roped off for a couple of years now. It's become unsightly. It's become a location for vagrancy and other things. We're proposing with this project, not only bringing a parklet into the park and on Lake's Edge, this is a complex subsurface biofiltration system. So it's a large stormwater practice that is going to capture a large, vast majority of the stormwater that comes down the hill through Shepherd Park, through all those pipes underground. It's going to catch and treat all of that right underneath this park. Really nice renderings on the following page that show you kind of a 3D imagery of what the park can look like. There's benches, there's beautiful landscaping, there's walkways, there's viewing points. We've even talked about some fire pits in the winter. We can enhance some of these things that a lot of these people are here talking about today. And I think it brings more people to water's edge, even if they're not swimming. It's ADA compliant, so we'll get at the universal access within. And again, really heavily supported by the community, by the people that took the survey and participated at the public workshops. And the state. The second aspect of this project, we've all talked about this as well. taking off that gable roof that's on top of the bathroom building and bringing back the flat roof that was once there and turning it into an observation deck. This is kind of replacing the original idea we had for a pier extension. The pier extension became extremely costly. There was questions about the construction of it, the type, where it would connect back to the land. So we kind of have foregone that idea and picked this up as probably a better viewing point, right, of the lake and the mountains behind. And a much more cost-effective one, and again, one that can be made ADA accessible through a ramp behind the building, which we believe used to exist at some point.
Yeah.
So that part of the project is maybe $500,600,000. The rest of the cost is going to the lake walk. Again, high cost, it's just under 3 million for everything. Another one with $500,000 in contingency. We are asking for 2.3. This is another project that has people waiting at the door to jump in and give us money towards the work as part of this. Primarily, the LGA wants to help fund the biofiltration system underneath the ground. So we have these partners lined up, not only a good story for the press, for partnership, and for continued improvement of this village, but it will save the village people dollars, right? We won't have to come up with the cost ourselves. Our partners will make up the difference.
What'd you say was contingency again?
About 600. The difference between the total and the request
Right,
is contingency.
okay,
And that was done strategically.
Yes.
yeah.
Moving on. I believe you are missing a page, or maybe it's out of order. What's the next page everybody has in there?
I have the AV lighting.
Okay. Maybe I stapled mine out of order. So the AV lighting project is a $600,000 total cost. It is an amalgamation. Is the next page for everybody, the Cortlandt Street project?
Yeah,
That's what I have, yeah, well, the reintern,
All right, it's out of order.
okay,
It's out of order.
gotcha.
Some of that's the town stuff at the end. I'll keep going over the AV stuff and then we're gonna bounce to the end, I think.
Okay.
We're missing the arts project in here.
Oh, the canoe, yeah, that's my
The,
favorite.
yeah, I know, that's a good one. The AV lighting and portable stage equipment, that is a $600,000 project. $100,000 of which is a portable stage and new orchestra for the Lake George Music Festival. That stage will be able to be stored in the basement of the amphitheater. And it will be able to be used or moved around, put at different places like Wood Park. The other 500,000 in this package is for 5 AV towers, which are portable as well. They can be used and will likely primarily be used in Shepherd Park to supplement all of the new infrastructure put in for the bandstand and the amphitheater. They can also be used in Wood Park. They can be taken down and used at Beach Road if this lights at the lake takes off and we want them to be used at the Beach Road parking lot. I mean, we can move these all around. They're really, I think, integral to supplementing these events or these attractions that we've been trying to have. And the purpose of them really is to enhance audio visual, right? That's why they're AV towers. You can do other things with them. You can put Wi-Fi hotspots on them. You can put connection points for numerous things. And we think that as time goes on, we will be able to grow and adapt and learn them a bit more and use them for other things.
Security cameras being one of them.
Security, yeah. So the good news about this project is total of 600. We're asking the state for 600. It was towards the top of the list. It got some pretty good support from the public and at the public workshops. And I think the aspect of it connected to the music festival is one that a lot of people have been supporting. Relatively low cost for, good bang for your buck, so to speak. I will skip Cortlandt Street unless anybody wants to talk about that. That's a town project, the redetermination of historic remains. I think everybody's heard about that one. CDTA project is another one that the town is sponsoring. It is a series of shelters throughout the DRI boundary. It now also includes a series of bike racks. a series of new CDPHP bike share stations, which have been working well here, and we've gotten requests for more of them. And the last thing is a complete overhaul of the terminus of the Warren County Bikeway. Putting in a trailhead kiosk, putting in EV bike chargers, putting in bike repair station, again, bike racks. There's a couple of really cool aspects about this project. We're gonna try to brand these things Lake George. If you've been up to Saranac Lake in the past year or so, they have these bike racks scattered about the entire town village. They're all branded Saranac Lake. This could be an easy win for branding and marketing and messaging by just incorporating them into some of these things like bike racks. So this is a cool, low-cost project the town's sponsoring. Town is also sponsoring 2 accessibility projects, one at the courthouse and one at the Caldwell Library. We are asking for almost the majority of the project costs there. I realize I skipped a few pages in the printing. They're not in your packages. I will go over those other projects right after this one.
Right.
The very last page is a small project fund. This is going to be a $600,000 pot of money that's given to the village. And the village will create a committee who will help dole the money out based on applications for small amounts of money, maximums of 75,000, I think minimum of 25,000. This could be used from really anything from facade renovations and improvements to winterization of buildings, to repairs and expansions of business. It's really meant for our businesses, right? We've got a handful of people privately who submitted projects. There were a lot of people who did not submit projects that have ideas. This could help them. Maybe it's 50,000, maybe it's 75, but it could help them achieve their small projects at no cost to the village. And I think it will be spread amongst at least 10 to 12 projects. I'm gonna look at this now for the ones that I did not print. We went over 1 and 2 and 3. Project 4 is a downtown heritage wayfinding project. This is a project I've been trying to work on for a couple of years here. Very similar to the project in Saratoga Springs. If you're walking around downtown Broadway down there, there are these big pedestal signs. One side has a wayfinding map, what's around the city, what's a point of interest, where are the parks, where are the public buildings, where's parking, etc. The other side of the double-sided kiosk signs is a puzzle piece of their history. There's a narrative. If you follow all the signs throughout the city, you can follow the storyline of the history of the city of Saratoga Springs. We have just as much, if not more, history here. This builds upon historic tourism. It builds upon our love for our history and the care that we've been putting into it over the past couple of decades. It also gets people around the current village, points of interest, etc. But it allows us to build upon telling our story and our history and getting people involved in that aspect of why Lake George is great. $375 total project cost. We're asking for $350. The $25,000 is contingency. Number 5, enhance the urban forest through landscape upgrades. This is Judy's project, I call it. Judy and I and Allison have been working for quite some time developing an urban forestry project, which would see a vast overhaul, replacement, replanting, new tree pits of a lot of street trees, some park trees, some of the gardens that are around the village, both up on Canada and down on the lake walk. It really is a full-blown comprehensive landscape redo and a beautification effort. It also is going to get rid of all the issues we currently have with disease, dying, or restricted trees along our thoroughfares, primarily Canada, but we've tackled a couple back streets and side streets in here as well. $400,000 project cost, $300,000 is the request. The difference with this one, the $100,000 difference, is actually staff and equipment time that Judy and her team will put in. We wanted to be able to count that because they're going to be doing a lot of work. So, and the state said this was another high ranking project. Number 6, the art and canoe trail. This is one of my favorites, one of the mayor's ideas. This is a partnership with the Lake George Arts Project. It is a dual-edged sword in terms of art, public art. Half of it is creating 3 new murals throughout the DRI boundary. One will be on the big white wall that is facing the vacant old McDonald's parking lot. We've already gotten the approval of that building owner to put a mural up there. I say mural, I'm thinking of something like the Warrensburg mural that's right next to New Way Lunch, right? That's a great idea. It's preserved well. It's got a ton of facets of history, the lake, the park, all of it is in there. So that's one mural. Patricia Dow has already agreed to allow us to revamp the mural on her wall down by Boardwalk. And we're still looking for a third location, so if you have any ideas, let us know. The other aspect of this project is a series of 18 canoe sculptures. Again, we sort of took the idea from Saratoga Springs when they did the horse installation years ago. Luckily for us, the person that ran that project was Tanya, who is the person that's going to run this project. She works at the Arts Project. This is a really cool aspect of this project and the whole DRI, the uniqueness behind it. We're going to get 18 canoe sculptures. They're going to have flat bottoms and they're going to sit scattered about the DRI boundary. We're going to put a call for projects out and we're going to find 18 individual artists to paint unique canoes. Each canoe will be different. The really cool aspect of this is we're going to have one oar or paddle that is going to match the canoe and we're going to hide them around the DRI boundary. So it'll be kind of a scavenger hunt to go find the matching paddle or oar. There also will be QR codes on the base of these canoes. They're going to tell people about the artists. They're going to tell people about our public effort, our public art effort. And we're going to have, process put in place to cover these things up in the winter so we don't have to move them around and store them somewhere. We're going to cover them up tightly and make sure they're preserved well in the off season. $400,000 project, $375 is the request. Again, like the others, the $25,000 is contingency. I went over 7, that's the $600,000 one, the AV towers and the stage. 8 is Cortlandt Street, 9 is the CDTA one I just went over. 10 is the courthouse ramp and other stuff. 11 is the library and 12 is the small project fund. And then at the bottom of that spreadsheet is the private projects that made the final cut. And that was a lot for me to throw at you. So if you have questions after right now, that's fine. Just let me know. But I will entertain any questions if you have any right now.
My only question is, and I don't even know if it's pertinent right now, didn't those horses in Saratoga Springs have a high rate of vandalism?
They did.
So,
and they did not, unlike what we're planning to do, they did not have anti-graffiti coating on them.
okay,
So they were immediately subjected to basically getting tossed.
right.
The other interesting aspect of the horses is they were hollow. So when people were done drinking on Caroline Street at 3 a.m, they would walk up the block, hop on a horse and it would break.
Yeah,
It was not, as Tanya's told us, it was not 100% fully thought out in those regards.
Yeah.
We're doing the opposite here. We're 110% thinking this out fully.
okay,
We've talked to several people who might be able to fabricate these canoes. They're going to be fiberglass. They're going to be hopefully hurricane proof. We're going to create bases for them out there on the sidewalk or wherever they'll go. If you see the map, they're kind of scattered about everywhere. And we're going to coat them in anti-graffiti coating. We hope that works. If they have to be cleaned off every once in a while, that's something we're going to probably have to live with. But the enhancement of public art and culture that it could bring to downtown is definitely worth the risk of that happening.
Okay.
Also, Saratoga is a city. There's plenty of things that happen on back streets. There's way more people. You know, I've been here almost 10 years. You guys have all been here longer. I haven't seen any graffiti or anything yet. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Other than the skate park.
Well, unfortunately, yes.
I took Ben there once. I'm teaching him to skateboard. I took him there. I think we left after 30 minutes just because of some of the stuff that's on there. He's starting to get old enough to read. That's a whole separate discussion that we can have, but that is a setting at which graffiti is actually
Right.
accepted.
Yeah.
Right? So that's not an uncommon thing to find at skate parks. you know, the one in Saratoga Springs has yet to be tagged. It's eventual, I think.
Mhm.
But that's something we can talk about. There's certain types of paint we can look at for the skate park. But other than the skate park, I think we've been pretty good so far, knock on wood.
Dan, I do see a lot of these, nonsensical, just slap on stickers on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
That's, you're not gonna be sticker proof, are they?
I don't think so. We're gonna have to keep eyes on these things and be stewards of them,
Yeah.
right? Just like they were with the horses down there. You know, nothing is gonna be perfect. It's gonna be something that we have to work around and address as they come up. Hopefully, they don't have any issues.
If it's, yeah, like you said, if it's kept up with, so if one sticker shows up, take it off right away before the others.
Bingo.
Confirm that it's okay.
You got it.
And I think the partnership that we have with some of these projects is going to allow us to not be the only ones to worry about these things, right? The arts project is going to be involved in this. After it's done, they're going to be there. They're going to help us. The same goes for the signage project. The Historical Association is working with us on that. The Courthouse Historical Association, the library board. So we've got partners on almost every single project, and I think that will allow us to have a little peace of mind.
Mhm.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate the time you've devoted to this and continue to. Thank you. Before I get into resolutions, I am gonna let Sasha go. So if you wanna come up and tell us a little bit about the permit, the New York State Agriculture, you and Brad. Hey, Brad. I see you sitting back there. I can't bear to make you stay any longer.
Just, you know, that's also paperwork that you guys all have in your.
Yeah, I saw it.
Under number
Wait,
4,
somewhere
yeah.
in there.
Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm the festival director for the Adirondack Wine and Food Festival. I appreciate the village's support of our event. You guys have always been very supportive of the event. It really helps like the local economy, fostering tourism and promoting New York's craft food and beverage producers. We're here today to talk about the additional $50 vendor fee from the village that is imposed onto our vendors and to respectfully oppose that. We've got a couple of reasons to explain why here. Number one being that the New York State agriculture and market vendors are already very heavily regulated and licensed. We operate under the farmers market through New York State Ag and Markets, and vendors classified under this umbrella, they include farm wineries, farm breweries, farm cideries, artisan food producers, and they have to obtain a few specific licenses in order to do that. Alcohol vendors, they have a specific New York State liquor license that identifies them as a farm winery. Same thing with the breweries and the distilleries. They're also required to obtain their marketing permit from the New York State Liquor Authority, which is a permit. It costs hundreds of dollars annually, and it allows them to promote and sell their products at offsite events like ours. And as Sasha can speak to, like Adirondack Winery goes to a lot of these events. This extra fee isn't an industry standard. It's something that's outside of the norm. Food vendors. The food vendors hold the New York State Agriculture and Markets Food Processing Permit, which is something that we take from them every year. It authorizes them to produce and sell their products at farmers markets and similar events. Again, these have substantial fees. They ensure vendors comply with stringent state guidelines. Small farms and craft producers often rely on these permits to access events like ours, and the financial burden of additional local fees is discouraging on the participation front. The economic impact that the vendors have on the village is also pretty significant. The festival primarily attracts small businesses, including family-owned farms, artisanal food producers, and craft beverage makers, many of whom operate on their tight budgets. If we impose an extra $50 fee on them, we might see participation decline. According to our vendor surveys, they've all indicated that raising prices is something that keeps them from attending certain events. They've got concerns already about the declining sales in the economy right now. Adding another expense may discourage them from attending future events, not just ours, but events in the village altogether. Impact on the local economy. The Adirondack Wine and Food Festival generates significant benefits for the village of Lake George. We had over 8,000 overnight stays last year. and a $3.4 million in economic impact. Fewer vendors is fewer visitors, you know, that takes a toll on that number. They're spending money in the town, they're staying overnight. Especially since a lot of them set up Friday, so they stay Friday into Saturday, Saturday into Sunday. It adds up. With the existing permit structure, based on the way that we've been doing it, the festival already adheres to that as far as vendors who weren't covered by New York State agricultures and markets. Craft vendors, food trucks, and other businesses trying to sell product. We've had them obtain the village permits. We try and ensure the compliance and contribution to the local regulatory framework in that way. Craft food and beverage vendors should not be subjected to the additional fees as they fall under that separate state regulated system. The increased cost and vendor affordability, we've faced like increased costs ever since COVID. We've made a very conscious decision not to raise our costs for vendors just because it's one of those things that they are attending fewer and fewer events because they already have to pay so much. And if what they're paying doesn't line up with what they're making, you know, they make that decision, and the more they have to pay, the less likely they are to actually attend with some of these smaller farms. Supporting these small businesses helps ensure their continued participation in the festival's long-term viability. So in conclusion, the Adirondack Wine and Food Festival is a key driver of tourism and economic activity in Lake George. Supporting small businesses and maintaining the festival's appeal requires keeping costs manageable for our vendors, particularly those under the New York State Agriculture and Market Regulation. The $50 vendor fee risks undermining vendor participation and consequently the festival's overall impact on the local economy. So I would urge you guys to consider the unique licensing and economic constraints faced by our vendors and maintain the structure that we've been operating under for the last 9 years to ensure the continued success of our event.
I just want to add to that because he's speaking from the ownership of the festival, but as you know, they're two separate businesses. So Adirondack Winery has been attending festivals like this across the state for the past 15 years. And they are what I would consider marketing events. So we have a team that we have like 3 people that solely do these events, and every single one of them is, you know, anywhere from $100 to $700 in booth fees. Ours is like $325 or something like that, so it's pretty reasonable. But they're expensive. I mean, we have to send 2 to 3 staff to every single one of these, and we're sampling our product for free, which is like how these things work, whether you're food or drink. And the travel is really intense. So like we get people coming from the Finger Lakes, from Buffalo, from downstate and Long Island, and it's just a lot. So they really don't make a whole lot. And so it is really hard to keep attracting these vendors back, especially the last couple of years when sales have been soft. Like we've experienced that ourselves in this particular, I call it offsite events industry. So I'm really nervous about the impact that we would have. And I mean, I think it's like half of our vendors, which we had 140 last year, like half of them at least fall under this, if not more. So it is pretty scary to me if more of them were to react by backing out. So just want to put that out there.
Is there a way that we could be guaranteed that they are New York State agricultural
Yeah,
approved? I mean, so that they can prove it, then we could, okay, there you
I
go.
have right here, if you guys want to take a look, this is just samples of different forms that they have to supply to us. And where exactly it is that it indicates that they are part of that. They have the specific New York State Liquor Authority license that indicates they're a farm, winery, or distillery. Yeah, oh, that's just the one.
We got it. in our
Yeah,
packet.
we got it
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, we have it.
Perfect.
So you guys charge how much to each vendor?
The price varies a little bit depending on what kind of vendor that you are.
Mhm.
If the alcohol vendors, we've been charging $375 for like wineries, distilleries, and breweries.
Mhm.
The craft vendors, some of the smaller ones, we charge $325, and food trucks, we charge $500.
Okay. And so how many of your vendors are you looking to get the $50 waived? Like what percentage? of
Any
that?
of them that would be the farm, wineries, cideries, distilleries, it's a little over half. So I'd
Fall under
probably
the
say
agricultural.
over half.
under the agricultural, yeah, anything that falls under that.
And how many do you have in your outside?
140. What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I mean, if they can, unless they have proof on file, so we'll be. Because we'll have our, our staff going around to make sure everyone's got a permit out there, which I'm sure you will oversee that anyway, make sure everyone has a permit coming in that's been signed off through the
Oh,
village,
absolutely.
but, as long as we can have proof of what vendors are,
Mhm.
because we were talking about possibly working up different style permits. One is a agricultural permit, so they receive that and they know it, and another one that's a non.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So we were talking about working on a new.
Sort of streamline the process, yeah.
yeah. And we require this from before they're even allowed to step foot on site, like we need all their fermenting, so. We will have that and we could always, as we get them in, share them with the village, just so that everybody is comfortable and knows that,
Because we'll have to let the whole office staff know,
Mhm.
if anyone's receiving these, what they're looking for.
yeah, absolutely.
But I have no problem with anyone to the agricultural standards to,
That
like
motion?
this. That's a motion.
All right, is there a second? Second by trustee Root. All those in favor for allowing the New York State agricultural pass on the permit fee that we charge, say aye. Aye.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, did you have a nay?
I can say I just also would love if next year when you guys come to give us a list of the vendors that did get that $50 waiver.
Mhm.
So I can actually get an idea of who is getting waived. And I think that would make me feel better about the decision. Cause right now I'm having a hard time figuring out what companies are getting waived versus not. You,
I have a question as well.
Yeah.
When you're done.
well, you guys charge a really low fee for vendors.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm gonna be a vendor at a specific, this is low. So,
It's very costly as a vendor to.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So another $50 in my head is not a lot for this price.
It's
So,
not when you go to like a wedding show, those are so expensive, but this is pretty customary for this particular industry.
mhm.
It is, and it's.
You also
particularly
charge a
tough.
gate too, right?
Attendance fee. for the
Attendance fee,
event.
yeah.
Right.
It's incredibly expensive to operate this event.
Oh, yeah, I bet. It's a good event.
It definitely is, and one of the hardest things with that, I think, the biggest factor we face, and part of the reason we have to keep that low is because so many of our vendors travel as far as they do, like. It's in the height of our tourist season, their lodging is,
Yeah.
much higher when they're staying here than it is in a lot of places that have access to more hotels in the region that aren't quite as
Yeah.
packed to the gills.
So I'd like to say like for a list next year, so we can review it and say this is just a 1-year deal. And so the board can actually review what those vendors were next year. Does that sound okay for everyone?
Yeah, my question was, just this event, waive the fees for just this event?
We are concerned about our event, obviously, but the AGs and markets as a whole. There are other things that would fall underneath that, like farmers markets and stuff like that too.
Well, but
That would be a
whoever
board
opened the
decision.
farmer's market would have
So
to
we obtain
maintain all
yeah,
that.
we obtain a
Yeah.
farmer's
Yeah,
market.
you're only worried about your event, and that's
Yeah.
all I'm looking for you when you do your event,
Mhm.
to give us the information. Anyone else that wants to do an event would have to go
Mhm.
along and get their own stipulations and ratifications for this, so.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
So, but you're proposing that we would have to come in front of the board every year?
I think I would like this to be a trial year. If I can propose that, like a trial year of this, so that I can actually see the list of vendors that we're giving the $50 waiver to.
Well, that's what, when we get our permits, when we hand out the permits, we'll have that list anyway,
Right,
of who was getting them, so.
sure.
Right, they're gonna
We'll have
provide
it on
it to us,
file.
right?
Yeah, but they won't get it until we see them. They won't get that agriculture permit
Right.
until we see them, so when we issue them, we'll have a list of companies too that are agriculture and non-agriculture, so.
So you're saying that we would get you the paperwork and then you would generate a special new agricultural permit from the village?
Right, that would be
We would then do-
gratis rather than the $50
Right, we
fee
still
that we
need a,
normally
we
charge.
still need a permit.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I can collect, we already keep it in spreadsheets
Yeah.
and folders with all of their permitting and stuff in it, so I can absolutely pass that along as we get it for you.
How did the,
It's
off
probably
topic, but how did the
handicap.
handicap parking work out this year? We had a few spots on Betty Little Boulevard that were graciously given to us by the town. I wanted to make sure that that worked out okay.
Yeah, that worked out great.
Okay.
It was a huge help.
Good.
We didn't get any complaints in our surveys
Nope.
this
We
year.
got plenty of them the year
About-
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year we didn't get any complaints about that,
Good.
so it definitely made things run a little smoother on that front.
And we had a good relationship with Sale, which was really interested
in
in.
Yeah, Cam.
Of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, yep.
And we are actually planning on them being one of the volunteers for the event this year and getting some of that monies from us, so.
Good, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that worked out. Okay,
So clarification, we're gonna do this as a trial year and
you're gonna modify your motion to accept Allison's amendment for a trial year and we'll revisit it next year. Is that good?
That's fine.
Okay, John, you're good with that?
Yes.
I'm still good with the vote. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful.
So
Great.
yay, then, Allison, for the vote.
yeah, she had,
She's
yes.
good.
Okay.
She nodded. Okay, resolutions. Now Dan wants to get out of here too. So PenFlex annual agreement. Are there any significant changes to this?
Slight increase, not a huge,
Okay,
but that's it. It's just the annual agreement.
do we have a choice?
Well, I mean, we want to keep it, right? Or we don't want to stop offering PenFlex.
So, I'll put that in the form of a motion to sign the, annual agreement or give me permission to sign the annual agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Pass carries. Shepherd Park Amphitheater revised survey costs. Yeah, well, we need to capture the, underground infrastructure that's there, because we're gonna be digging things up and it's what, about half of the original survey cost? It is prevailing wage. It's a lot of work for them. It's unfortunate. I wouldn't expect to have paid this much for a survey, but we only have to do it once and we own it forever.
Yeah, the 10,000 spent on the property survey of the entire park was money well spent.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times we've looked for a survey for the park and came up blank prior to the one that was developed. But the $5,000 extra will cover electric, telecommunication, natural gas, water, sewer. And it's really because we need those things mapped so we know we don't disturb anything and to see where we're making connections for the new project.
Where is it coming out of in the budget?
Oh, it will eventually get paid for by the either insurance, the grants, all of the things that we're getting money for to build the, rebuild the amphitheater and rebuild the park.
So basically we have a capital project that we created for Shepherd Park. This is where they gave us the 100,000. We are currently over our 100,000.
How much
We have
over?
asked for another
6,000.
100,000. So when we hear back from that, we're hoping that it'll come out of that. At any rate, it will go into the capital fund. It has to come out of there.
So right now we spent 106,000
Yes.
and you said that you're in negotiations for more,
Mhm.
but you don't like the negotiations.
No. I like them fine.
They're fine.
It's just slow. It's slow going.
Yeah.
We have a gentleman who used to do the job that the person I'm negotiating with did, and is a good friend of the village that's kind of taking the other side of the fence and negotiating on our behalf. We're getting quotes from a few different people. Because I don't think that they incorporated prevailing wage, and I don't think they incorporated the loss of business for the stage rental that we had to do. And I believe it's about 30% light, and I'm just working on getting them to help me state my case.
So how much more are we thinking we're going to get?
Probably another 100,000. I mean, the total is 408?
308.
308. Well, minus the 100,
Mm,
right? It was 408.
I don't think so.
I think it was 408, but they've already given us 100, so there would be 3. So I think that we could probably get another 100,000 out of them, closer to 500,000. Dan and I have been talking quite a little bit about it, and that's kind of the number we seem to keep landing on.
Yeah, you didn't even account for cleanup and demolition costs.
Right.
You know, there's all these things that go into it. And a lot of insurance companies will forget that replacement cost includes a lot more than just replacing the structure that burned.
I mean, even the beach had to be, the beach.
We could
sand
put
was
some more
replaced.
sand on the beach.
Tree,
because of
the
the-
tree removal, I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of bells and whistles that go along with it that may have been overlooked.
So then, if we don't get more, right, just playing devil's advocate here, where are we taking it from?
We'll get at least to cover this.
We'll get it, yeah.
We're,
totally.
we do, they've already offered us. That,
At
you
least
know,
this.
at least way more than, well, yeah, way more than the 5,200 that we're looking for, but yeah.
Cause is that also, now we're going into the other, is like the next two things? No,
Yeah.
1, 2,
The next one thing.
the next
next
one,
one thing,
and
yeah.
then
Well,
there's,
Fine, Rezzo, yeah, the next one.
and then there's one. Doty Green Infrastructure Feasibility.
That's a grant that
That's
we
a
already
grant,
got.
okay.
That's
different.
different. We already got that grant.
Okay, so they've at least offered us enough to cover these two.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
And some of Andy Allison's costs.
And some of the architecture and, yeah. Which we've already paid, that too, so. I can take, these two together if we so choose. The Shepherd Park Amphitheater, revised survey costs and the Hartkin for Archaeological Services, CT Mill for Geotech.
Mhm.
I'll take a motion to approve those two.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
second by trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Mayor votes aye, carries. Authorization for an encroachment license by Adirondack Brewery for expanded area. We kind of did this, didn't we?
We didn't have the paperwork
We didn't
for
have the-
the,
okay.
we had the license agreement, we did not have the resolution.
Gotcha.
For the updated.
Right.
For the
or
updated map, right. And we did change the fee, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what do you want me to do here?
Just do both of them.
Okay. Take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Seconded?
Consent.
Oh, I think Allison beat you to it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye, carries. Okay, de-standardized flight pumps. I don't see Tim here, but.
Basically
you
what
wanna
it
speak
is,
on it?
he's stating that flight pumps were the ones to have, he's unfortunately found out that it's maybe not the case. What's happening is, every time we need to repair one, we have to send it out,
Mhm.
and they still have one from months ago. We, in the meantime, had another pump go down, we sent it to another vendor that was a little bit closer, and we've already got it back. He wants to de-standard, we have these guys standardize as the pumps going forward. We're just looking to de-standardize it. So going forward, if we do need to buy a pump, we don't have to buy flight.
Okay.
That we can get
That's
it
a
in.
good move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially right now where flight's at.
All flights are grounded.
So
Oh,
basically.
Make a motion to approve that,
Well,
resolution that Tim suggested.
there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second it.
Second by trustee Joe. All those in favor say aye.
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 Everyone's aye, carries. Fantastic. Support for the continuation of 50 million in unrestricted aid by the state. Additional funding for 25 and 26. What are we talking about today?
Basically, they're looking to get our support on the state.
Oh, from NICOM?
Yes, for this,
Yeah.
yeah. They're basically just wanna.
This is
join on
NICOM's
board.
thing, right? Yes.
This is NICOM.
Mhm.
Yep. We wanna continue to get the money. And they want our support in doing so.
Right. Well, I would support them. How about you guys? Motion to approve?
Yeah, I'm supportive.
All right, motion by trustee Joe. Seconded by
can second it.
trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries.
Support
Aye.
that stuff.
Planning and zoning director, IMA, that is Dan the man right there. What we got? Did that go up? We got you raised, didn't we? 3% cost of
Yeah.
living?
Yep.
Yeah, you're fine with it?
For this year, yeah.
Yeah,
I
next
think
year we'll talk another
Next year
number.
we can talk and.
Cause I got some other stuff cooking for you that you're gonna be busy.
And DRI, we'll see how many projects we win with DRI.
Right.
If we win all the village projects, that's gonna be a lot of admin work.
Agreed, especially the small project fund.
I am not admitting that one, sorry, that's getting tossed to a consultant.
Mhm. No, that's right. We will pay someone to do that.
That could be 15, 18 projects, so I would love to administer the big ones if we win the big ones. No problem with that, but yeah, I'm cool with it. It just extends it for another 2 years. That's what we've been doing, 2 years at a time.
Well, I'm a fan of it.
Make a motion to do that.
Motion to approve by trustee Root, seconded by trustee Filomeno. All those in favor say aye.
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 I think he said anything. Okay.
He has been quiet, so I'm trying
No,
to.
I would say
trying
that's
to get
not
it
how
filled.
our government works though, like,
I'll second it.
there we go. Thank
Okay,
you.
good, that's better. Green infrastructure feasibility study. This just came over last week, right? A week before? Yep, this is our, project that Dan was just talking about with
Right.
our infrastructure, our infrastructure and, stormwater. This is the grant that we won. We're just looking to spend the money with Swazo Doty to do the design work for us. So we've got the money. We're just putting it to good use with, the folks at Swazo Doty.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll take a second.
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Jose. All those in favor say aye.
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 They're just gonna, so this is going to go into the DRI, like if we get awarded, this is.
This
the
is stuff
50
we
that
can do
we're-
now because we got this grant money.
Mhm.
The DRI would pay for the construction of the park.
Right,
This is, and we might even get more grants but the DRI is where we're asking this. The design of it, we've already won. We won this money last year
okay,
And another 75.
and another 75 on top of
From
that.
the basin program,
okay,
really to get us started with design and feasibility assessment on stormwater practices and. You know, the actual design of the structure, whether or not we're building a seawall, all these different components.
okay,
But yeah, those are both already awarded.
okay.
All right, I will take a motion to appoint Tom Sullivan as chairman of the zoning board as Ron Mogren is, well, singing a swan song. He's retiring and, Kieran Murray as a permanent member of the zoning board of appeals. And I'd also like you guys to think about some alternates. We are out of alternates. It'd be good if we had someone from the community to serve as an alternate. So just kind of noodle that around, but I'll take a motion to approve the appointment of Tom as the chairman and Kieran as a permanent member.
Make that motion.
Okay, seconded by trustee Root. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
I had it wrong on that.
Yeah, you fixed it,
I,
right?
yes, I fixed it on our copy. That had already
Mhm.
went on Friday.
Bye.
I'm going, guys.
Thank you, Dan.
Hey, thanks, Dan. Have a good night. Get home safe.
Nice work, Dan. Thank you.
Um, Okay, so, the LGA has, talked about a couple of different things. One, it started out as a live edge plow, which we really don't need in the village. But that was kind of all the rage, and now sidewalk brining is more the rage. And actually, Allison sent me some photos from last winter that an excessive use of granular salt was used. Did that come from you? Or did it-
No, it was for me and it was a resident that sent it to me
Yeah,
that was
yeah, right.
requesting me.
You
Yeah,
sent it
now
to
I
me,
remember.
but,
Yeah,
I know where I got it. I don't know where you got it, but anyway.
Blue on the steps.
Yeah, the blue ice melter, but to alleviate the use of granular salt, or at least lessen it, the LGA has committed $15,000 to give us to purchase a sidewalk briner. Now, the piece of equipment we want to buy is gonna be about an extra $4,000 to include a snow thrower on the front of it. John Helms has that money budgeted for a granular, 4,000 for a granular salt spreader. And he said, we don't need to do that because we're buying a briner. So the money that can go toward the granular salt spreader would go to the snow thrower attachment for the sidewalk briner, so.
What's a snow thrower?
Oh, like a snow blower.
Okay.
And like our,
never
our,
heard of
we have,
They want to clean it first and then put the salt on afterwards. Is that what it's for?
actually the other way around. You go through and salt it, but it has, the capability of snow throwing as well, so it kind of doesn't work that way. You would want to go through and brine the sidewalks first.
Oh, that's right.
And then it's
Yeah.
just an ancillary piece of equipment that we could do our sidewalks in, half the time that it's taken us now.
So after a snowstorm, what I was thinking, you go in after a snowstorm, you clean it off with a snow blower in the front of the machine and then you would. apply
You can
the
brine,
in
yeah,
the
you can
back.
apply the brine on the back, yeah. But, the idea of the way they say to do it is brine before
It's
preventative
preventive,
maintenance, yeah.
Okay.
But it's like a dingo. You ever see the dingoes?
Yeah.
You ride on the back of them, that's what this is.
Okay.
But it's 19,000 for the machine, the tank. We buy the brine from the town, actually.
It's free now?
What's that?
Free, I
It's
think.
free.
Kind of free-ish.
No, I think Marissa, didn't
That-
you guys do
That
something?
monthly meeting is free.
It's free now.
See that? Thanks, Marissa.
You learned something.
Yeah, in like 500 gallon increments. It's free to businesses, it's free to residents.
Nice.
You get a 5
You
gallon.
just get a little pump sprayer and do your sidewalks.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I would like to have the ability to accept the village board to accept the $15,000 from the LGA to purchase the sidewalk briner.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Filomeno. All those in favor say aye.
Bye.
Opposed say nay. That votes aye. This dump truck. Talk about it, Julie.
Okay, well, first of all, we went out to bid for it. We got absolutely no responses. Went
Interesting.
through Warren County, we got no responses.
See you, Tony.
So what it ended up being was we are actually piggybacking off of a Onondaga County contract
Mm-hmm.
to purchase this. We have the money in the budget. It's been budgeted for a few years now.
Okay.
It's gonna be a total of $215,000, which includes the dump body and the plow to go with it. And obviously the machine, the vehicle itself. So we are just looking to award that. Because at this point, we have been through, like I said, I've been working on it since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going on before I even started. And like I said, we can't even get people to bid on it.
Okay.
So we want to piggyback off of Onondaga County.
So we budgeted it. It's not going into
No, it's
something
not.
we're
It's in the reserve.
financing.
It's in
We're
the
not
reserves.
reserve.
Specifically created for this, or, so it's earmarked for this.
Okay.
Take a motion to approve.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Seconded by trustee Jose Filomeno. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Votes aye. I'd like to take a motion to award the bid to ADP for time clocks. We are still using the little kind of time clocks that print in, I don't know, pencil.
Mhm.
Very antiquated, but this is a computer system with a thumbprint and a pin.
And a pin.
And a pin. So nobody can punch each other in or anything like that. We're actually joining into the 21st century, and we need 5 of them.
Mhm.
We've gone to ADP, we've gone to Paylocity. Who else
Paylocity,
did we go to?
Paylocity wouldn't even bid for us. The reason being is a lot of these, they work in conjunction with your payroll company.
Mhm.
And basically, if we were to go with a different company besides ADP, we would basically just get the information, download it, and then we would have to download it onto a spreadsheet and then still manually enter it into ADP. That's not what we're looking to do. We're looking to have it seamless, easy, non-calculating. We didn't want to have to sit there and have somebody going, okay, 8:30 to 3 is how many hours? Because that's what we're doing right now. It'll end up costing on a yearly basis about $2,000 per department. Because it's a little over $10,000 per year, and there's 5 departments that would pay for it, so each department would pay their share. And what this would, like I said, be seamless, it would help to alleviate a lot of errors. Because like I said, we won't have somebody sitting there trying to calculate how many hours, it'll alleviate a lot of time,
Mhm.
and it'll just make things a lot more seamless.
As long
Not to mention that Well, and at this, it also gives the department head the ability to make the changes that they need, instead of standing over our payroll clerk's shoulder and say, oh, I forgot to tell you that so-and-so was here for an hour and a half on overtime because I needed them to come in and take care of this issue or whatever. And they forgot to punch in, or they weren't able to get to that. They had to go to the emergency water break, whatever. So there's that. This allows the department heads to have some oversight on their own, a little bit more responsibility for their department,
So they'll
rather
be
than
able to see
laying it all on the payroll clerk.
They'll be able to see in every day. to
Right,
make
each-
adjustments if there has to be
Exactly.
adjustments.
They would be the ones to override any kind of change that would happen.
'Cause I know we have one company I work for, and
That's,
and in this figure, and
Mhm.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and you have to.
right.
It's not fun, but it makes it easier. And
Right.
if you get the punch out, they still punch out at the end of a regular workday unless you're.
Right, and
many times
like I said, we'll just calculate it for us. It would do would eliminate a lot of extra.
So you still
work
think
that's
we
done.
require a clock, an actual fixed object on the wall?
You have to, yeah, you do
Yeah.
have to punch in, because you can't just say, oh, we can't just say,
For
oh,
hourly
yeah, I
employees.
was here 10 hours.
So
Yeah.
Mine's all done. up. I
Yeah.
don't- I don't- the clock.
Right,
I have to-
not everybody has phones, or the,
Right, they're not paid.
You could have a desktop, but whatever. So
Right.
I'm still thinking, you don't trust them enough to.
it's not necessarily trusting enough. We have a lot of seasonal employees that are, fresh out of school, may not have all of that. We don't have every department with their own laptop,
Okay.
so.
Well, that's a good, I'm just wondering, yeah, the desktop thing, would that be a lot cheaper though? Because I think people could figure out how to just punch in on a desktop, no?
Well,
Or like an
that's-
iPad?
Well, they can't, that's the thing, they'd have to go up.
They have
And
to boot up
it's,
and.
they
turn
have
it
to
on.
literally punch in, everybody gets their own code. And they would have to fingerprint. You can't punch in for somebody else. If you go onto a desktop and just log in, you can just give your login information to somebody.
Well, there's always a cheat around everything, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'm not on that.
Not on fingerprints.
Yeah.
Not in fingerprints, but yeah, a lot, I mean, fingerprints don't always work, as Joe was just mentioning.
Yeah. Is there?
And it still can be overridden and entered manually, if someone. got
As far
punched out.
as paying, there's a card, but I didn't want cards because
Can
somebody loses
who
it, now
loses the
somebody
card
gets access.
Thumbprint only or
It's
fingerprint?
thumbprint and
And a pin.
pin.
Both of them.
Mhm.
So every year, an extra $10,000 a year.
2,000.
It's $10,000.
Yeah, 2,000 times 5,
Yep.
1,000 times 5, right?
Yeah.
10. So, I know in crew, we have people punching in an iPad. I
Yeah.
mean,
I do
Well, like I
have
said,
one.
we can punch in anywhere, but then you're not eliminating all the extra work. That she would still have to download it onto something. It would not be integrated with our payroll. The
Mhm.
only way to have it integrated with our payroll is to either hire an entirely new payroll company and start from scratch trying to learn a new payroll program, and that's not gonna be cheap either, because that's signing up with a new payroll company.
yeah.
So
um,
ADP.
KDP is our
You guys
payroll.
do.
Requires this punch-in technology to be.
Unique.
The only way that they can be, that it will come, it'll just automatically feed the
Do you guys
information to
have issues
ADP
with
as if
that?
it's an ADP program.
So they supply
can-
equipment. It's a rented equipment.
Yeah, it's leased equipment.
Okay.
So part of the $10,000. And the other thing is, if it's leased like this, they service it. There's no cost for servicing. If we buy
So what do you
something,
think?
we're on our own.
It's
Absolutely,
yeah.
they update, they
So
do
we go obsolete
anything and
for
everything.
years.
There's no obsolete, right, there's no
Obsolescence.
obsolescence.
Well, it took me quite a while to read the whole contract.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there, yeah.
Julie? Between, shrinkage vis-a-vis, substantive hours and, employee time to calculate everything, do you think we get close to that 10 grand? Amount?
I don't know if it's a full 10 grand, but the thing is, we'll be able to bring on more duties. So it'll be a wash for what she does end up not having to spend on payroll. There's other duties, like I need somebody to help me in my department, with filing and maintaining records. Ideally, someday we'll be able to go paperless,
Mhm.
but at this point, there's just not manpower to do that.
People power.
So, like I
Yeah.
said, that's one of the offsets is we're trying to free up some time, so there
Thing
are
is,
other things that can be.
We have a busy office. Our office is very busy.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah, I mean, she could be utilized elsewhere, so I think the ease of use,
The
the
longevity.
trade-off is gonna pay off in dividends. I think that we'll make up that $10,000 in other achievements.
Say down the road, we need to cut costs somewhere. Is this
Mhm.
something that we can opt out of?
Oh, we can always,
We can
yeah,
always
I mean,
check,
and we
yeah.
can always
Okay.
go out to bid and try to get a different payroll company. You know, you can always do that in the future. Our payroll clerk is new. She's just learned ADP. I don't want to throw a new program at her at this point.
Okay, so this is for this year?
That's for, yes, this is for this, it's a 1-year contract, I believe.
Was this something that we originally thought we were budgeting
I'm sorry,
for?
for 2 years.
We budgeted for the,
You budgeted for this, you guys wanted this at the beginning.
Mhm.
you
We
put
were
into the
looking, like, I said,
budget.
we've been looking at it.
it's been
just a
slow
matter of getting-
going, but
We,
because
like I said, I
there's no
couldn't get the
response.
I couldn't even get the third person to give us a price.
And like she said, anything goes wrong with them, they're fixing it for free. They're giving us new printer, pads if they break down or misfunction.
Mhm.
Then if we buy them and do them ourselves, we gotta find someone to fix them, we gotta buy the new ones.
Mhm.
It's more like a lease,
Sure,
sort of kind of program.
yeah. Just get anxious at the costs,
Well,
Yeah.
bringing them,
but you
little
can drop
pit
it
in
off,
me.
you can drop it off in each department, right? You're gonna
Like I
apply
said,
it in each
Each
department.
department will pay for their way.
Alright,
I mean, we did budget the whole
Mhm.
thing in, I think it was it buildings or office?
No, I
Just
did
office?
no, you're talking, that was the phones.
Okay, that was.
so each department should have budgeted $2,000 then, is what we're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Yeah, and at
that's
this point,
corporate
from now to
initiative.
the end of the year, by the time this
The
gets
budget.
implemented, we may have to pay 1 or 2 months.
okay, it'll be
So it
next
will
year.
definitely be in next year's budget as well. To cover anything, but at this point, every department head has come to me and said. Yes, they hate the time cards.
I mean, it'll save the time of the department heads coming down here to oversee them, to make sure that they're properly.
You have to oversee it no matter what. When I
Well,
don't
with the
swipe in and
computer,
then my
it's
boss
easier.
oversees me and has to go in there and recheck it. So there's always gonna be
Mhm.
oversight, but
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm willing to try it and see how it goes. And if it's just as much of a headache, then I'd like to stop it, cause $10,000
We can,
is,
like, anything
yeah.
that we.
Is that a motion?
that's a motion.
All right, is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Seconded by trustee Joe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed, say nay. Votes aye, carries. Tax and water re-levy. Looks like we are in a total of about 122,000, no, 122,000 and 28,602.48 for both taxes and then water re-levy. Let's send it on to the county,
Mhm.
and I'll take a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Motion by trustee Joe. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye. Permission to go out to bid and request proposals for the water department furnace, some bounce houses, beer and wine, and food vendors.
Those are for the Fridays at the.
This is for
Yeah,
Fridays.
we did them we did the same thing last year.
When we're talking a lot about, I mean, the water department furnace is a no-brainer. We gotta do that anyway.
And they did budget for it, just so you guys know.
Right, yeah, I remember.
Bounce House Beer and Wine Food Vendor, we are currently using, or were currently last year using, Common Roots. I'm fine with continuing that, relationship. We have a good relationship with them, but I wanted to see what your thoughts were on, either buying our own,
Bounce house.
trailer, no, not the bounce house. I don't wanna, and I don't wanna own a bounce house, God, no. But the beer trailer, it fits like about 4 or 5 kegs in it. We don't make a lot of money. And not that we really want to, it's more for the convenience of people having, you know, a beer or so in the park. But it's not as profitable as it would be if we sold Bud Light. Yeah, John, did you just throw up in your mouth a little bit?
A little bit.
The
verb.
So what are you suggesting?
I'm just saying, I'm just tossing it out there, see if you guys want to discuss, maybe buying ourselves a trailer with, the capability of taps on the side and own it. And have our staff, if they have the ability or the desire to make extra money, it's just a conversation. I don't care either way. But do we want to maybe consider that?
No,
No.
I don't even want to dabble in our staff selling beer,
Okay,
wine.
that's
alcoholic
fine. We still have
beverages.
volunteers that do sell it.
Yeah,
It's,
but they
and
want,
lend it. Okay, so
But
that,
then we'll be responsible for everything, the list, the licenses, the insurance, the.
right, but I'm just, hey, I'm
Oh,
throwing it
no,
out
no,
there
I
because it
know, I
was
know, but
thrown
I'm
to
just
me
saying, you
by
know,
some of our
something that-
employees.
Yeah, the bounce house.
Like John used
I
to,
mean,
used to go down and pour beer.
Volunteer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For, Bob's event.
for Fridays at the lake.
Well, there's not
Anyway,
a lot of, there's not a lot of information here, for instance, you say, a bounce house on these dates, it doesn't say. The size, it says the times, but there's probably a lot of variation of bounce houses.
What we do is we send it out to them and they pay us.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So whoever offers us the most money. Generally
But
gets
would
the
they-
bid.
we don't give a lot of details, or, and is that, we don't give a lot of details with the beer, we don't give a lot of details with the bounce houses. Should we require a person to be there to attend the bounce houses, or should there be, is there a different square footage of
they
the
would have
bounce
to,
house?
they would have to be.
Right, they have to sell.
No,
tickets, I mean,
Yeah,
Fans for spending.
but there's not a lot of information there, unless they just make their proposal and we base it on not the lowest bid, but whatever the best quality is, I don't know, the best.
Well, I mean, that's what we do. It's the same thing as like with the food vendors last year. We were presented with 3 or 4 different bids and you guys,
We don't necessarily have to go. for
we
the
don't have to,
lowest bid.
no,
No.
we're best value.
So if somebody offers us 2 bounce houses or a
And-
bigger bounce house.
And we know that their bounce houses are always uninflated or they don't show up.
right, we gotta go by like
We can-
reliability too for vendors.
Yeah, he hit on what I was gonna say, because I looked into bounce houses, they're actually really unsafe. So I don't know if they're giving us, what are they giving us? Because one, I want to make sure that they're tethered to the ground. And then I did go to an event down in Shepherd Park with a bounce house. Not safe, it was not safe, I would say. Especially for like, so like if you're in a bounce house and you've got kids of varying sizes, and you have one kid in there that's 20 pounds and another kid in there that's 100 pounds and they collide, good luck for that 20-pound kid. And there was nobody at the front of that bounce house saying like, whoa, okay, this is the time for the 100-pound kids, or this is the time for this size. They're just in and out. So it's really unsafe. So that's why I think what John's pointing on is a good idea, that we get some more information when they do come in, especially how they're keeping safety of that.
Like maybe more details on the application.
Yeah,
Proposal, yeah.
yeah, like if they're,
Okay. I'm fine. We can have Devin work on that.
yeah,
Any suggestions you guys want to make?
Yeah, that would.
That would be
contact
great.
Devin A.
Yeah.
You
what
Get
changes
to
you
Devin
want.
A on it and you have it on, Jim, you okay?
I don't know if you touched on, I couldn't hear all the conversation back here. The fire department was in the bounce house business for a little while, and the biggest part, the most difficult part to ensure was, cleaning and sanitizing and
Yeah.
and that kind of
Sure.
stuff when it got back.
yeah. Someone gets hit and then they start bleeding. Who's cleaning up the blood?
Well, it's a petri dish anyway.
It's not.
It's not, I was gonna say.
Yeah, but when I was there,
Oh, goodness.
kid got hit and he was bleeding.
Yeah, so any suggestions, take these 3, proposals and add or
Operation plan.
detract
Your
at your,
There you
an
go.
operation
You want
plan.
to,
But say it
I'll
out.
table it for
loud.
now.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll table all 3 of them.
Operation
Table all
plan.
3.
Go push the furnace there.
Yeah, the furnace can go. I mean, I'll take a motion to approve us getting a proposal for the water department furnace.
I'll make the motion for that.
Okay, seconded by trustee Root. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Mayor
Aye.
votes aye. These 3 we can table, take a motion to table and,
Can I just real
add
quick?
for, yeah, go.
What they're looking for is it's real straightforward, it's operations plan.
Mhm.
It covered safety, sanitation, so on. And it's actually good if we do get that for the future. Any of our vendors, we just have that in our back pocket in case anything does happen. we don't get, because it says $1 million liability, down there, but things are crazy now. People want more than that $1 million, and I don't want to be on the hook for it either.
What do
Gotcha.
you call it, a workforce operation?
It's yeah, it's says here,
Just to hear, okay.
yeah, it's straight for operation, but it covers everything from maintenance to sanitation, everything down the line.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now they're beholden to it because they presented it to us, so if they don't, when it picks up, the bounce house goes flying. It's right here in our contract and you're covered in it. Yeah.
We made a motion, table.
John did, and then, Jose, did you second it?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Carries. Special events, facility use applications, Shepherd Park, Hudson Valley Firemen's Convention. June 11th to the 14th, all day. We've approved this event already. We did not waive fees for the park. We waived fees for the parade. And I would like to, put that in the form of motion to waive the fees for the park.
Question?
Sure.
Is Tom or the Hudson Valley Firemen's Convention, are they getting any occupancy tax money for this event?
I know they were asking. I don't think that they've received anything yet.
Is it just as an alternative to waiving fees, if we could grant them the amount in occupancy tax equal to the fees, and then that would cover it rather than
$250 a day for the 4 days,
it's total.
$1,000. Is that what you're asking?
Well, this one shows.
Yeah, I'm looking
Uh,
at 7,500.
That's 2,000 because that's we already waived the parade fee
Okay,
at the last board meeting. So it's the 2,000 would be the difference. right?
2,000.
Yeah.
Just so that we aren't falling behind on the fees, like
Yeah.
a village employee said to me, you may waive the fees for the event, but I'm not waiving my fees, so just to keep up with our expenses.
Cover the cost of personal
Fees
work,
with occupancy,
security or whatever the.
Yeah,
picking up the garbage and things like that.
right, okay.
I mean,
Noted.
that might be a separate, down, but we still have to have an occupancy tax meeting and bring that up then, but I guess we'd have to just keep track of it.
Right. So you
Makes
are
sense.
making a motion to not waive the fees for the park.
Well, it gets more complicated now. I would make a motion to grant them, yes, I guess I would do that for now with the thought that we would cover their fees with occupancy tax at a future date.
Okay, that's a motion.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, second,
Can second that.
second by trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Mayor votes aye. Astra Tow Show, Bob Gorman, June 6th to the 8th. These guys are great. They're here every year. They pay their fees. We've never questioned it.
Very low impact.
Very low impact. Good folks with
But
tow
it's-
trucks.
But it's not, look, when their
It's,
trains are up in the
they got
air.
the big booms up there, yeah, so I'll take a motion to approve the Astra show at Wood Park.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by trustee Philomeno. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Mayor votes aye. Memorial Day Parade, the American Legion does it for us. We pay them $850 to put on the parade and have all of the attendance that they do, and then a celebration in Shepherd Park.
It's at 850 coming from occupancy tax.
Either that or budgeted,
I
probably.
honestly don't remember where
Well,
it
if we
comes out
took
of.
it-
I'd have to look it up.
Well, we don't have celebrations anymore, so it would have to come from op tax, yeah. Okay, second.
Can second. For
Second
yours.
by trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Mayor votes aye. Carries. All right, FMLA discussion. What's that?
Okay, basically Family Medical Leave Act.
Oh, family medical leave, that's right.
Yes.
We talked about that at length.
Yeah, every month we have a meeting between the heads of each department. And one of the things that was brought up is the fact that we do not offer any paid Family Medical Leave Act. This, and, basically, if you qualify, you can get paid a small portion from the
Mhm.
state.
Mhm.
However, we don't offer anything here. What we discussed as the department heads was the option to possibly offer up to 2 weeks of pay to somebody who has to go out for FMLA. Obviously, the person would have to qualify according to state standards. And they have to pay for their own health insurance
Mhm.
during that time. If they're gone, they wouldn't stop paying for that during that time. We're just not looking for ways to offer benefits that doesn't cost us extra money. And obviously, we're paying for them whether they're here or not. Basically, we're paying for them if they're here, so it's already budgeted in by the time they would have to use it. So we're just looking to offer up to 2 weeks paid. And we're looking to see what you guys think about that.
Well, so they already get the paid family leave from New York State.
If they qualify, they'll get us, I think it's like a third of your pay.
67%.
So it's 2/3 of your
Is it
pay?
2/3?
It's a pretty decent chunk. So what, but this wouldn't be budgeted for, right? Because basically we're saying we're giving people an extra 2 weeks.
Well, when we do our budget, we don't know that they're gonna be out on something
Right.
like this. For instance, we had somebody whose child needed open heart surgery.
Mhm.
And at the time, that person, for some reason, they denied him. They denied giving him any pay. They got some money from the state,
Mhm.
but that was it. Obviously, there's a lot of expense that goes into something like that.
Sure.
And so that's what we were, like I said, we were looking to it because it's not something that would actually cost the village extra money. Because if they stayed here and were working, they would still get that pay would still be going out.
Right, but then we would have to make up the work, right? So how are we making up, are we paying someone overtime to make up the work?
Not necessarily, no. Like I said, it's one of the things that we're trying to, we're trying employee retention.
Yeah, it's employee retention thing. I mean,
I'm,
we're not the best payers in the industry, but the more we can
more
make
they
it
have
worthwhile to be under our employee, the better off, and
And usually
it's
it's some-
easier to keep people.
And usually I think FMLA isn't something that says, oh, listen, I gotta take the next 2 weeks off because of something.
No, it's
Usually
general,
it's something planned, something that they have to ask ahead of time.
but I mean, the only time that it's generally planned for something like this is if you are having a child.
right, so I,
That you know pretty well in advance that that's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
yeah.
Like 9 months.
It's something like that, those numbers.
Just as someone who's taken family medical leave and gotten paid family PFL or whatever, I'm not, I guess I'm not inclined to this because it's not a standard to do this, and I feel like it's, I mean, yeah, we would be paying them if they were here, but now if you're saying we're not gonna pay people overtime, they're just gonna have to work harder, then actually, like, I feel like that's not a benefit, right? We're not keeping that money to say, let's hire someone or pay someone overtime to make up for the extra work. So now we're asking people who aren't out to pick up the slack for the same amount. Does that make sense how my brain's working on this?
No, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
I have no problem with it. Been there before. Had something like that happen. It's not because I'm sick.
Right.
It's because something has to be done and with the family member. So that was the whole idea that's behind the FMLA actually even came around.
Well, not to mention FMLA payments aren't immediate.
No.
They
Right.
take 2 weeks.
They take-
Well,
Um,
depends on how you do it, but
few
you can get
months.
disability right away. No, it's not a few.
Disability doesn't come. And you get nowhere.
Right,
near
well, it
disability.
doesn't, like I said, if it's a family member that's hurt, you don't get disability for it.
Right.
And generally, if they're hurt here, that's workers' comp, you
Yeah.
know, if it's,
And that
2 week cap.
doesn't happen right away
That's
either.
what they're saying, yeah, so it'd be 2 weeks of full pay.
2 weeks paid.
Do we have an average pay? It's a generic average pay.
Is it full pay or percentage?
no, because I mean, it kind of goes across the board.
Yeah,
We
it's
do
all
get-
over the map.
it's- We've got people that get $16 an hour, and we've got people that get paid like 40.
I feel more comfortable maybe saying a percentage of their pay for the 2 weeks. Just because again, it's either I'm asking another employee to make up their work or we're asking people to go overtime. I just think we have to think about our village funds and our budget. It's a beautiful idea. I'm not saying that the idea is crappy and I don't want to give people pay for when they're out when something happens. But
What
then
would
again,
your-
it's,
What would your suggestion be on the percentage? 80,
I mean, I would say if we're going with,
2/3?
yeah, if we're going with what is offered for paid family leave, right? It's, I believe, 67%. I mean, what does everyone else
No,
feel?
I'm fine with it.
That's
Yeah.
where I was
That's
thinking.
kind of where I am. It's fair.
Done.
It's better than poking the eye, but,
And then I
Sorry,
think,
Joe.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Sorry.
but are we also with the standards of you have to be employed for a specific amount of time?
Yeah,
in
they
order
would
to
have to
receive the-
fully meet the requirements of New York State
Of New York-
FMLA. So
Mhm.
basically, the requirements for that are 12 months and at least have worked 1,250 hours.
1,250 hours, right?
So if they qualify in New York State, they're automatically triggered if an event occurs. And we could do it.
Yeah, I mean, we have people right now who aren't gonna qualify for it no matter what. And
Right.
I thought that, department head was gonna come, basically and ask you guys about that, but apparently.
And it's something has to be approved anyway, it's something that's just not offered. Right.
Right, we currently offer, obviously, everybody has to offer FMLA. When you're,
Yeah.
when you're a public entity, it's required. If you are a private business, if you have more than 50 people, you have to offer it.
Mhm.
But under 50, you don't if you're private, but
Right.
being that we are.
And then there would be a separate line at the end of the year when we're looking at our expenses to see how much we've paid out of this. So that we know, cause I see this as something down the road, like when we offered retirement, right? And health insurance benefits at the percentage, we thought it wasn't going to be as expensive when it was done down the road, but now it's more expensive. I could see this potentially being an issue, 10 years from now or something, and so.
Well, 67% of your salary is gonna be 67% of your salary. It's
No, I'm saying as a whole for the village, how much it's going to cost us per year, right? So if we start looking at it down the road and it's costing the village, I don't know, $200,000 a year, we would want to know that.
Oh, good Lord, no.
Right.
Could be nobody working.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying as far as like, I mean, no one probably thought how much health insurance was going to cost us this much, like 10 years ago.
I mean, we can offer a report at the end of the year of how many people applied and
Yeah.
what the pay was.
That would be perfect.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Jose. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Votes aye. Farmers market discussion. Got a letter or an email from Bonnie DeCook from Adirondack Brew Pub or Pub and Brewery, saying they would love to do that farmers market again in that location. Our park is going to be under construction or of getting a facelift, so I don't think it's a good idea to have it in Shepherd Park this year,
No.
for sure.
Well, I thought it was great. I mean, I don't know, it looked like sometimes it was attended well, but it wasn't, but it's out of our hands. We have no control of who goes in, who goes out. We don't have to worry about who goes in, who
I don't wanna
doesn't.
have anybody calling me and fighting.
So,
with
I
each other.
mean, I have no problem letting them take it over again.
Is it allowable by zoning? I mean, is it kind of stretching the definition of what a farmer's market is or is it like a repeat event? I think there was some emails back and forth in the beginning.
I know Dan had
Dan
addressed that.
concerns about whether it was,
Wish he was still
The
here.
farmer's market
I
is
think
whatever
they keep
you
them.
decide
Yeah,
you're
right,
gonna
right.
have. I've thought, when I looked into this a couple of years ago, farmer's market is who's ever, they can title it any way they want. If they're holding it, you want crafters in it, you have crafters in it. You don't want crafters in it, you don't have crafters in it. We don't have any say because it's not on our property. It's on their own property. What they decide to do with that, that's totally up to them.
I think at the end of the day, that was the
No, it is.
determination was, it's a private event held on private property.
so it's an event or is it farmer market? I don't remember the details, but Dan seemed to have reservations about it being a farmer's market or like a repeat of event. And it's I try to take into consideration the local business people that are competing, that are trying to make a living on Canada Street, where they gift shop selling something that might be being sold at a pop-up down in at John's property. So, but if it went well, I guess, and there was no complaints, then maybe I'm just being overcautious. I don't know.
This is a vote, right? Can we, basically, I like what John was saying right there about the brick and mortar paying to sell their product and the pop-up doesn't have to. That's the biggest, you're selling your lemonade and pretzel next door to Rachel's popcorn shop. It's hard.
Selling coffee out of a tent.
Across street from Barrow. No, I totally get it. Are we allowed to put guidelines on there if it's someone's private event?
Not on private property.
No, we also
No,
have
and
to
at this
approve it,
point,
right?
it's not even an application for the event. They're just,
Asking.
they're asking us if they were asking, are you guys gonna do a farmer's market? Because if not, we'd like to still do it again
Mhm.
and put in our application. And I believe what you guys were saying is really not.
No,
even-
we're
not doing-
We're not doing it, so.
That's what we're just
Yeah.
trying to determine at this point. Are we, as a village, gonna do a farmer's market? Because like I said, they may say they're interested, but until we actually see the event paperwork, it's not real.
Well, I agree with Joe. It's much better.
And that would be the vote.
Yeah.
It takes
That's
away
when you would vote for
parking
that.
issues and
Yep.
it just keeps it separate and it's much better down there to whether it's the structure is the best, I'm not sure. Like Jose said, brick and mortar is pay a lot more than what they're paying on it. So anyway. So we really don't need to move on this. This is
No,
just
we don't.
taking the
Just a discussion.
Yeah, just taking their temperature.
Yeah.
Yep.
We do have to move on number 8, though. Employee hire and pay. Michael Bush is a guy that Tim has been courting to get up at the wastewater treatment plant. I believe he has does he have a CDL?
I don't.
I think that's the
That pay rate is.
that pay should be for CDS.
that's for CDS. Yes, he does have it. Yes.
Yeah, all right. So, yeah, that's to backfill someone that, Tim terminated. And then Evan, who's been with us for many years, he's actually a retiree who comes back seasonally. He has a CDL and, we're looking to give him a raise from $17 to $20 an hour. Because we've been utilizing his CDL license in the absence of, some other CDL drivers that.
Does he work through the winter for us or no?
Yeah, he can. He's willing to, but he's also retired, so he's,
Right.
we've been keeping him busy. Even though he's retired. Now, that being said, I have not talked to Evan about it. I don't know what will. If it could mess up his social security or his retirement if he makes
Right.
too much.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just
Kind of have
kinda,
to be monitored by the hours that he works.
right. So that's, if it's agreeable to him, so I would take a motion to approve both of these.
I think you ought to keep in mind too, that they don't, a seasonal worker doesn't get paid benefits, so that $20 for one of our full-time employees would be benefits on top of that.
Right.
So, Evan's a bargain at $20 and I'll make a motion to approve both those.
Okay, I'll second that motion, and all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye, carries. Employee meetings and training, we've got, what is that?
Just one, basically, Keith Lanfear, our superintendent, had to go and complete some training in order to keep his recertification for water. And it happened last week, so he's just looking to be reimbursed the $60 he had to pay out to go to this training so he could get his recertification.
Take a second.
Second it.
Second by trustee Joe. All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed say nay. Mayor votes aye. That carries. Special events committee discussion. Let's discuss. The village board is the special event committee.
Find out if anyone has anything.
I don't know how long these conversations.
Mm.
will stay.
This could be going on. Do you have anything from the fire department? You guys want to bring anything up? I just letting you, letting you say your piece before we start talking about something else.
I put on there that I would kind of want to, I would like to start the process at the rec center to start utilizing the lower parking lots and water systems for training. I talked with Chris a little bit about it. It's pretty much everything is in place except for about halfway down the hill, there's a water pumping station that restricts the flow going down to the lower parking lot.
By the baseball fields, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That pumping station is up further near the reservoir.
Mhm.
The advantages of us getting that working is, first of all, it's a large area that, we won't be impeding anybody else, especially, we won't be into, when we're doing low or high flow operations, we won't be tapping into the village water system where we've run it down a little bit sometimes. And we have, plenty of room to do what we need to. The only time that I think there would be conflict maybe in the spring when some of the, baseball games are going on, but we usually start at 7, which I think is well after those all close out. So,
Okay.
there's the changing of the water system or bypassing that pump station so that we could get flow to the bottom of the hill. It was something that would have to be handled by other departments in the village.
Are you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to space out on you there, but, are you, requesting an executive session to discuss a member situation? Is that still
Well,
relevant?
Well, those were 2 items. There was the rec center one, and then if I wasn't on the agenda to discuss a personnel issue, I was gonna go write a letter or something to get on, but I do have a personnel issue that I need help with, so.
Okay.
Well,
Let's take care of the rec center business first, as a training site. I don't have a problem with it. Does anyone else? It's a good spot, out of the way.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, we're gonna be able to, if you reroute that pump station, you're gonna still be able to get enough. Cause I know it's a gravity fed. Right. Reservoir. Beauty, there's the reservoir up there, and even though it's a gravity fed system, the changes in elevation would provide us with some pretty good flows.
Okay,
Provide us with good flows and pressure.
Yeah, there's a hydrant
And
there.
volume. Yeah, but so it wouldn't impede anything that you needed. You wouldn't, I thought I heard you mention that you'd have other public works to adjust or fix it. Well, you'd be able to use everything the way it is. In the ground to route a bypass around that pumping station so that when that's in operation, it still, has its flow, but then we have a free flow or a full flow down to us. Right now, it's restricted because it has to go through that. Right.
Should we
Do
talk?
we have, I don't know, we'd have to find out from the water department if it's something that's easy enough to be done, or if we take time to create a bypass, because there's not one there now. Just as a tailgate, kicking it around, Chris didn't seem to think that there was much there, but, it still is something that has to happen in the fire department. Yeah, no, I have no issues with it as long as it can be, handled without, an expensive.
Right.
I think it's a great place for the train. It's on premises. It's keeping off of the grid.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
water.
it's not affecting our water, it's not
Right.
affecting our potable water.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Can we just coordinate with Gene?
It would be the water department, not.
No, because it's at the rec
Oh,
center.
right,
In case
obviously.
if he's like
Yeah.
planning for
Sure.
stuff, I don't wanna
Sure, yeah.
pop as a surprise.
Nah, right, you don't want him not knowing that they're coming and.
Yeah.
And
Have
you'd have to
plans.
find, again, I'm sure you'd reach out, and find out what was going on a specific night during the week, so you knew which was a good night for you, so. you know, it's all in coordination, because they, between softball, little league, you know, 7 o'clock at night, it's dark out, they're playing until 8:45 sometimes, so. You know, it'd have to be on an off night, but.
When school stops, that stops. also,
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, we get some, they run it through June, you know, and then there's the fields get used on private leagues too, so. Again, coordination with, you know, with Gene, so you know that, you know, what's going on down there or not. There could be a tournament, but usually they're weekends, but I have no issues, just like I said, coordinate with Gene to make sure that you guys aren't running into an issue where something popped up. And then we know, to tell Gene, nothing can be done because you guys are using the facility.
Or vice versa.
Right, yeah.
Now, to start this process now, or does that come through the board, or?
We'd have, I guess so, right?
What's this?
About setting up the bypass.
Mhm.
That would
Yeah,
have
I
to
would,
come to the-
we'll have to talk to Chris, both Chris's, and
Yeah,
and see
Find
what
out what they
they're.
need to do to start working on that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Chief.
Are we making a decision now on the employees?
Was kind of this, it's running a little long. I was wondering maybe we could talk about it, privately, you and I, and then,
Okay.
and then we can take it in, to account in either a special meeting or our next meeting.
Very well,
Okay, we'll keep.
and you had a couple of things?
Yeah, so the LoSAP issue, the LoSAP trustee issue.
Done.
The one party seems to be very quiet. He has not said a word, so I just gave the report at the last monthly meeting and he still didn't say a word. I figured maybe that would jostle something. Is a letter going out to Tom McKinney to tell him he has been appointed, because he said he hasn't received anything.
We'll have to get a letter out to him. I assumed I figured you guys would appoint him, but I can appoint him.
It doesn't come from us, it has to
Right.
come from you, and
Okay.
then he'll know that he's taken over. So that's been kind of quiet. I did hear talk, I kind of came in midstream, but I did hear talking about the ice rink that was put up on Beach Road.
Yes,
Don't forget, we do have an ice rink in our annex that we used to put up at the high school. If that can come into any sort of a use for you guys, feel free to take it.
okay, thank you. This is synthetic ice, so it's not real.
Right, but
It throws
I
in or
didn't know if even the border of it
Mhm.
could be used for something or something, feel free to take it. I don't know.
It's a weather,
We have no use, but, you know, it's been.
it's a weather
It's
ice
a
rink.
very air, so if, or maybe we should just sell it. It was purchased by the village, town and us, so if nobody's gonna use it, maybe we should, you know, all the parts are there.
Mhm.
Maybe we should just post it and sell it.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna use it.
And then
Something
just
like that.
refer the funds right back into the fire department.
Yeah, it would be surplus.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just a thought,
good to
the
know.
only two things that I had.
Was it a legal size ice rink?
It was, I would have to go back and look, but I believe I do have some emails on it.
Yeah.
I could look it up and see, but it was pretty large.
Yeah, or just, you know, hockey game on the ice, they were in a carnival, you know, it's.
Is that the one you had at the lower, at the high school?
Yes, yep.
When we
Yeah,
couldn't use the
there.
lake to pond
Obviously, we
anymore.
don't need, you know, multiple ice rinks around, but I didn't know if there was anything.
When it
could use
finds
for
cold weather.
anything.
Yeah, it requires.
That one requires
freezing
water
temperatures.
and cold weather.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and knowledge to make it nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Which, if the weather doesn't cooperate, that doesn't tend to happen,
No, and then, yeah.
so that's all I had. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Special Events Committee discussion. Go for it. You asked for this. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Well, I mean, we're coming to an end. I think Bob, as you had said, no longer going to be the special events coordinator. So I think it's good if we have a discussion to figure out moving forward what we're going to do. I think a committee is a good idea, but I also like the idea of us having a workshop. I know the town agreed to have a workshop about it. My main reason for thinking of changing the system a little bit is just because we're saying that special events is one of our major opportunities to make revenue as a village. And so I've always said, since I've been a board member, I'd really love for it to be more of an objective process as to what becomes a special event versus what doesn't, if that is how we're making more revenue as a village. Also special events, they create an image, right, in our village. And so we really want to make sure that we have an image in mind when we're approving these. And so I just think we would be better served with a committee that is specialized for this versus us as board members, every board meeting looking at it and going, okay, we have this event, should we waive the fees? Should we not waive the fees? Was it a good event last year? Yeah, it was a good event. It sounded okay. And then we just approve it or not approve it. I feel like it should be more objective than that. We should have more data on these events. Or a group of people that have a better idea about how to improve an image or go towards an image that we are wanting, or a group of people that would say this type of event will probably make us more parking revenue. So, and that's my thought, but my hope is we could maybe all agree on doing a workshop.
I think a
for it.
workshop would be a great opportunity to get, opinions out there. It's like
Mhm.
everybody that may not approve a certain type of event, but
Mhm.
other, people from another walk of life do like that type of an event.
Sure.
Like this, one that comes to
Boxing.
mind is, well, the boxing is one of them that comes to mind. It was pretty successful. But it bothered no one really, but we had reservations. Do you remember when we approved it, like,
Still do.
yeah, we approved it, but somewhat contingent upon it being, we had two events, like they ended up canceling one, but we approved it contingent upon the second approval of how it went. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to look at events after they happen and then say, do we want this event again? Or what could we do better? What can we change? And I think it's good to give them a shot, but at the same time, if it's not bringing the type of character that we want, it's a good opportunity to take a look at that afterward and
Yeah.
say, hey, what can we do better? What can we do differently?
Also, I think that too, well, in the past, events were pretty much centered around one person. One person was being the director bringing in events, and then by the time it got to the board, it was pretty much already decided. It was in the paper, it was on posters all over the place, and so we were kind of painted into a corner. I think it also by getting a group of people together, get different ideas, different perspectives, and I like Allison says, teamwork is the dream work.
Yeah.
It's the dream work.
I don't know if I've said that ever. It's a good saying, so.
I agree. I like the workshop
I like it.
because it goes back to our original talk, so we can have a metric, the financial impact, environmental impact, quality of life impact, for it. And we also got to, get data so we can have a post-event. Like we can get real data and see what we want on there.
Mhm.
And so everyone's represented at the end of the day. Yeah, I agree to that workshop.
And the workshop, I think, would be more than just the village. So it'd be the village, it'd be the town, but we'd also could invite people from other entities like the Warren County EDC, right? They have a pretty good handle on what economic development is in this area and what we could be promoting, right? I don't know if Warren County Tourism or any, yeah, CVB. So other groups coming in and kind of giving us some insight or some thought into what would be going into, if it's a committee, if it's whatever it turns into, but helping us, create something.
Okay. You're gonna do like kind of follow up with the outline of it, of the formation of it, Is that?
Expand on that and what you're asking
Are
me?
you gonna do the formation of this committee, like suggestions on either members or how many, the outline of it, the construct of how it's gonna work?
Yeah, I think that would go over in the workshop, right? Like,
Probably part of the workshop.
yeah.
And we could have a joint village and town board
Yeah.
meeting where we could discuss it. I think
Right.
that's
the
long
intention.
overdue.
I think that was the intention,
Donnie?
Taking anybody from any other organizations, I'd be willing to. be on that.
Okay.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah,
We've already
yeah.
got people
We
wanting to
already got
be
a
on it.
volunteer. Marissa, you got anything you wanna add? I know you stuck around long enough for this.
Yeah,
I mean, no, you guys are doing your business and I want to stay out of it, but at the same time, yeah, we've talked about this on the town board level. And I think Patty Schuster is a little annoyed with me because we agreed to set up a meeting, but obviously this is the component that also needs to agree to do that. So we need a date and a time
Mhm.
to do that
Mhm.
and make sure that people that we want to invite are able to come. I was hoping to do it sometime this year.
I don't want to stack the board, but I mean, we'd have to, or stack the committee. We'd have to kind of have a discussion about who and why and, what
No, we
are they
don't
business
wanna- we don't
owners?
wanna say- We don't want to posse up.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. No, the
Yeah,
business
but-
Well, we can all
owners.
go to the
Things
workshop.
that make
Sure,
sense.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think we should, but like a mix of residents as well as
Right.
business owners, so I
But I mean,
think
initially,
business owners that are residents.
do you represent residents, right?
I would, I own a business right now, so I mean, I do, but not like.
Well,
kind of
who voted for you?
Residents.
The residents. okay.
Yeah. Well, there's some business owners that are
They voted for you
residents.
too, And they also voted for y'all,
Mhm.
so. I mean, I almost think that it could be just the town and village board, since we were all voted, and as you said, we have been acting as the events committees for our communities.
Mhm.
I mean, if we want to invite some heavyweights, in the industries, that's fine, but I don't know how you pick, if you pick. Say, like, we're gonna invite Gina from the chamber, then you need to balance it out with. Somebody from.
Fire department.
Exactly, somebody from the fire department or somebody
Right.
from just resident.
Yeah, I am all for a healthy discussion, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But between both boards and see what our opinions are. As of now, with the events, the current slate of events that we have and what we could do to either draw new ones or attract better ones. So I'm all about the
Modify
discussion.
existing.
Preset guidelines.
Mhm. Modify existing, sure.
Modify.
I think when we had our group of people here talking about their support for the lights, something that hit me was Kathy had said she's hoping to fill the schools,
Mhm.
right? So if that's also a factor in this and what she's saying, like the residents, there should be a reason that we're having events. Again, like I think monetarily too, but also what else are we getting out of it? So having people discuss things like that, our school, enrollment is dropping. Why is that dropping? Could we produce things that would make people want to move here to fill the schools again? Right? So there's all these factors at play that would go into this workshop.
Vinny showed me a folder the other day, he said, here's what I got from the county, this is what we go by when we look at events.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at the criteria and it's really, it's kind of shy of 50% of the criteria that we perhaps should be looking at. And Vinny even agreed that a lot of the stuff that we do, even though we have committees, and I'm not a big committee person. I get it. Like, no one needs another committee. But at the same time, we've been talking for years about refining our occupancy tax guidelines. It's one of the few things that really characterizes our community, and yet we don't have it in any of our like comprehensive plan or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for years, it's kind of been culminating. It's really nothing that we're springing forth here. It's the culmination of things.
Right.
Okay, you're looking at your watch. I'm gonna get out of
No, I like, I think it's good.
So we
Go
need,
with the
we need
DRI.
we need a date and a time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hopefully it's here.
So who do we want to email? Do you want me to start an email, send it to everyone and say what date and time should we kind of propose for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
If everyone else feels happy about that.
Okay.
You guys.
Bye.
Have a good night, Marissa.
Thank you. All right. So that's good. We should probably try to set a date for that,
Mhm.
with, Patty Schuster from the town.
Yeah.
And, we'll coordinate between Julie and Patty to set a date for that.
It's most likely gonna be an evening, I would think.
would think
Trying
it'd
to
be
get
evening, yeah.
everybody, so yeah, that's just throwing it out there. We also need a date for our,
Basically.
meeting.
Yes, the safety
Ray
meeting, yes.
And Vinny, if you
Actually,
ever see
that could be
this.
incorporated in the same meeting.
It could, yeah, if
think
we wanna
we
try and
get
do
that
that.
People.
It'll be a long meeting, but But it kind of goes together, right? Special events and the safety and how to
You
get
think
people
this
in and out.
Workshop should be open to the public, or it's gonna be invite, or is it?
Well, it has to be open to the public if all of
Yeah.
us are there.
So, yeah, anybody can show up.
I feel like we could have like suggestion sheets, they could,
Yeah.
and, you know, save some time, they could write down your suggestions.
Might be an
Okay.
all-night meeting.
I'll bring refreshments.
Can bring coffee.
All right, so we'll handle this in the next couple of days, Jules, we'll figure this out,
Oh,
try to get a date set, or, work with Patty to try to get a date set for us.
okay.
This is why she needs help.
I understand. I guess I got a leak under my sink, and my wife is freaking out right now. Skating rink. And Wood Park Lights at the Lake. John brought it to, actually Allison brought it to my attention that we should likely have, talked about it at length before, Vinny and I went ahead and bowled our way through, with the timing. I did check with the village attorney, did nothing illegal, but there's the question of, okay, we probably should have had a special meeting or an emergency meeting, something to work with the timing of it all. And so for that, I apologize. And, I know, we talked, what, Friday or Saturday? No, it's Friday. Friday we talked. And, so, yeah, we could vote on it now. It's kind of silly because it's happened. And I don't want to, I'm not glazing that over. I understand your concern and, Allison, yours as well.
Mhm.
I don't know that if presented, it would change the way you would vote. I'm not sure, John, based on your comments, that you would have voted for it.
Well, now that you stack the audience with all these people, if they were here the first time around, I would have said, okay, they made a good point, and I'd be willing to try it, but we'll see at the end of this year, because Winter's Dream was one big fat $3 million flop.
Understood.
And the Ice Castles was great for year one, so-so for year two. And then they had lights down there like nobody's business, burning up a transformer because it was a overloading thing.
Yeah.
So now you're throwing $150,000 on a plastic ice skating rink and lights. Okay, I understand these people are in business, they want to try something, but you can't just keep throwing money into a hole. And then the fact that it's already been done. I mean, that's insulting to me that you figure that Joe and Jose are gonna line up behind you and go ahead and do things without confront or considering Allison as.
Well, never in a million years did I mean to insult anyone. I just was acting fast and doing what I believed was the right thing for the village. Never in a million years would I slap you in the face like that. Not intentionally.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? So I guess I could have worded that better.
Yeah.
But,
So if you look at the minutes, it says in the minutes that you're gonna keep us informed during the process and as the process goes on. But, and I still don't. Do you have anything from Matt, an opinion in writing, because?
just a phone conversation that he said to me. He said, if you want, you can take a vote on Monday and, they can vote yes or no on it and it's done. You know, obviously, it's not the best practice of what we did, but we should have talked to you a little bit more, or had you involved in the conversation as things were flying around. But there was no, you know, it's not like there's no hangable offense here.
Yeah, I hear what John's saying, and I think a lot of times. It's like, I sat and I listened and I took the heart over the weekend. I talked to Kay about it. I see it in business because I'm forced to be very pragmatic at times, do it and go and move because I'm always on time constraints. But I understand what John's saying, to see a radical side of it, of the information song. Cause we had a meeting a couple months ago. And at the tail end, we mentioned lights on there.
On the 30th.
That was it,
Yeah.
The biggest part that the people didn't see and that I saw, and my understanding of lights, and I'll say, everyone knows it. I worked them, I've done them before as a teenager. And I knew the undertaking of it. We got hit with it all came all at once as far as the Fort William Henry, so on, these things occurring. And then from my understanding, when I was doing it, we did lights in the park and Washington Park set up way before Halloween just to get everything up and going. So things were moving very quickly. I apologize. I don't know. I'm learning every single day that I'm here. I'm learning protocols and so on. But my mindset and then moving forward, and I think Ray's also, it was really a pragmatic approach of, all right, get it done. And that's my wiring in my brain. And I'm constantly trying to balance the commercial with my residential heartstrings in there, you know, and that's my explanation for moving forward and so on. But I think moving forward, like we just had this conversation 2 minutes ago about the workshop. I agree a lot. There's parts of me that were cheering for the fact that says we have to get together more and work things out, because all these issues that we're having, and I know that you have existed here for 50+ years.
They keep coming up.
And they keep coming up, because it's like taking medication to get rid of it so you don't see it, but it still keeps popping up. We really need this again for like this workshop. It is this, I get it. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's not a personal. I wouldn't ever, I like you personally. It's not a personal on that or anything like that. And I'm not speaking for Ray, but it's speaking for me. Again, you know, it's in hindsight, you know, if it doesn't snow, it's walkable, it's warm. Yay, we can do this. I'm looking for outlets for, as a resident, my children and so on, and as a business owner on that side of it. And this board is a perfect conduit for, that's why we were voted, like Marissa said, the residents chose us to do this. And this dialogue, this conversation like this, I know it's uncomfortable. No one likes it, but it's healthy. It's really healthy. I actually enjoy when you speak up because you bring light, and I enjoy it.
Light, I'm not in the meeting. And
No, I understand
decisions
that.
Are being made without the entire board. I just think that it violated the process. And there was, I had in the discussion, I think with you and Julie and Ray, you said that you kept minutes for these meetings.
I have minutes, there's minutes posted
For the joint occupancy.
for the
tax?
one I was in that, with
Yeah,
that.
so they take
yeah.
turns,
So was there,
keeping the minutes.
so there was no quorum at that meeting,
There's 4 members of that committee,
but
of
there
the
were
joint
only 2
occupancy.
board members, so you don't need, there's no quorum of.
Of a village board, no, there was just
Right, no.
myself and Jose, Vinny and
So
Nancy.
so it's not necessary to have minutes, but you do take minutes.
Yes, because you wanted that the last time that we had the joint meeting, at Holiday Inn, it was a request that we have
So-
more visibility. So therefore, we decided at that meeting to have minutes taken, so.
So if you're gonna
Minutes
take
were
minutes
taken.
at these meetings, let's say, just we're having a little friendly chat here.
Sure.
You know, what I find unfortunate is that I don't know when something is going on. I sat at home for a whole year. I could have been going to meetings, but I don't know when there's a meeting. So if I know there's a joint occupancy tax meeting and you're taking minutes, why can't I show up? Or if, you know, and then I looked at Dan's report. There've been so many meetings on the bandstand replacement. I could have gone to some of those, but I don't feel like I'm welcome. Or you don't want to hear what I have to say, whether you agree with it or not. It's just easier to just do things without listening to my view.
No, when I formed the committee for the bandstand reconstruction, it was formed by people in that industry, arts project people, performers, showrunners, those are the people and Gary McCullough, who designed the first bandstand. So these people, Alex Gary is on that committee as well.
I'm not saying I wanted to be on the committee. I would just like to go to the meeting so I could stay informed.
Well, they're all Zoom meetings. We have had one in-person meeting.
Well, I can Zoom.
You
But
could-
the thing about a committee
Reach out
is-
there, though, you could reach out, hey, when are you guys doing the next meeting? I mean, you know they're there. I mean, you know,
What?
I just.
The DRA meetings are
Ray
posted.
has a schedule.
He's gone to the
He has a
BRI
calendar,
meetings, he's talking about
Right,
something
you have a
different.
calendar of meetings.
Yeah.
What, could we have access to say, well, I could pop into that meeting if I wanted to, or?
Well, it's a committee meeting. It's not like a public meeting. I mean, if we do meet in person,
Private?
you can, no, it's not private, it's just that you're dealing with, nuts and bolts and stuff of how this is gonna work and the design, we're having a public meeting on the 12th, which you're more than welcome to come to.
But at this point, that design of the stage, bandstand is already so far down the stream that there's no.
Are you gonna design a bandstand, John?
We
Where's
have
your
like a-
level of
I,
expertise?
right, I
mean,
think he's asking if he could have some input.
yeah, of course.
So that's, I think.
No, it's not too late. There's no construction drawings. There's just theories out there and
Yeah.
plans, I mean, ideas. They can be, it's malleable. It could be changed and I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are or what you're looking to do. I'm letting the professional architects do the design. I didn't have any input except for basement.
Yeah.
Said, I think we should put a basement under it. If we're doing this, we may as well, do it and make it nice and, took in some.
Put storage
some
underneath
public-
instead of on the sides where you
Yeah.
get the big.
Well, you're still gonna have
20 foot.
some on the sides, but not as big and less roof like we've talked about, but.
Getting off subject here, but the point is that, all too often, it's clear that there are 3 votes that are gonna go one way, and it really doesn't matter. Doesn't seem like it, that the other.
How often do we disagree?
Well,
It depends on what,
Depends on
what
the
they are.
topic, yeah.
Americade,
But I
you know,
think
car show.
that's not the point of like, how often do we disagree? Like, we're a public government entity, right? So there's an appropriate way to do things that create checks and balances. And if we don't go by those checks and balances, I mean, what's the point of it being a public entity? Like when I was hearing Jose talk, like I totally get what he's saying because he's a private company, so he has to move fast. And he can do that because it's basically decisions that he can make. But as a public government entity, you can't do that. You have to have the votes. And even if someone is thinking along the lines of like, yes, I think I've talked to a few people and they're going to vote yes, there still has to be a meeting, a resolution, something of that nature showing that versus going ahead with it beforehand. Because who knows what happens along the way between, yes, I feel like I've got people that are saying this is great to the vote time. And then you're stuck in a really bad position of, well, I thought, but now it's not that case. Right, and that's the purpose of public
Well,
government,
but-
right?
But if you're on a committee, the committee's there to try to make decisions.
Mhm.
This was an occupancy tax committee with the lights and the skating rink. The village didn't contribute any money to it.
The
This was
village,
money.
the village didn't, but if you do listen to the meeting, right? Ray says, and I don't want you to feel like you're being ganged up on, but Ray says, I'm here representing the village, right? And this board is the representation of the village. And so myself, I felt a little as though no one talked to me about it, which is, I'm not a super proud person and I'm not someone who, but it would be nice because I feel like I was voted to be on this board, that I feel like I have a duty to the residents to say like, yes, like I did know about that. And when Ray went to ask for the $150,000, we talked about it and I supported it, or I didn't support it for what reasons, because I have had people come up
They
and
didn't
talk to
ask
me
from
about
the
it.
Village for it though. It was money that was allocated through another department that we have no control of what's.
But if you
goes
listen
to
to
the
the
department.
meeting, it is the village because it couldn't be from the town is what they said. So it's the village taking it. They couldn't
Right.
do two
They
entities.
couldn't send it to both.
But now we
So-
own an ice skating rink. And as, it's the lady's name from the.
Donnie.
Donnie said, they have one, they're trying to get rid of because they don't want to store it.
Because it's also a water ice rink.
Well, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, we'll see. If I'm wrong, I'm fine, good. But I don't know how much action that ice rink is gonna get, and I really don't know how much those lights are gonna tip the scales. And when people are talking about the lights, they're talking, this is Wood Park and a little bit of Beach Road and some in front of the fort. What Judy does on Cannon Street is great, I'm all for that, but, I don't know if this is gonna work, and I don't know if it's really gonna tip the scales, but. And it did come from the county, but I think we still have to treat it like it's tax dollars money, taxpayers' money, whether I know we're not paying the taxes, our residents aren't, but somebody's paying the taxes and I just find it
Yeah.
kind of unbelievable that a committee can go out and make a purchase or a contract with a vendor and make a purchase without even having the money secured or really legally or authorized by the board. And
What board?
this board,
We have no say in what that committee does. When you are a committee, did you
Okay.
guys, when you made decisions?
well, you and I are, I'm the chairman of the sewer rate committee.
Right.
So I'm gonna go and start a sewer rate because we're a committee and I can do what I want, right? So no, committee is just like step one of the process. They kind of kick ideas around and they kick it up to the other level, like at the county. Nothing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anything goes from committee to money out the door at the county. It goes to committee to the board, because I watched the meeting when they kicked this around.
Yeah.
Did you watch the meeting, right?
Yeah.
Because Mike Wild kind of, pushed back. He said they want to do an ROI on it. And then obviously the members of the committee piled in, except for the supervisor from Hague. He was kind of wishy-washy on it, but I understand.
Meraki,
How do you say it?
Meraki.
Hackett? The guy from Hague?
Oh, I'm thinking Horkin, sorry.
Hague. That's it,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah. He wondered, he asked if Winter's Dream was coming back. I'm sorry, but I looked at that $3 million. $3 million still wasn't bringing enough people into the village during the winter time. If that's not gonna do it, you think $150,000. By the way, I don't even know. $150,000 for, well, so it was 100 for the lights and 50 for the ice?
Yeah, 150 for the lights,
So where'd the money for the ice come from?
joint occupancy tax fund that we have
So
already.
that came, so that wasn't approved either. So there's really been two kind of overshot the board, because nothing's ever come out of joint occupancy tax in my memory to purchase without going through the board first.
No, but
So-
they contribute money to events and stuff like that without us giving their approval either.
I was on the joint occupancy tax committee, and every time we would come up with a whole long list of events that we authorized whatever stipend for, and that we would get the whole list at the top, at the village board meeting, we'd have to approve the whole list. So I disagree that, so now we have purchased something. I thought the ice skating rink was purchased by this 150. So, no, so the occupancy tax committee went out and made a purchase for an ice skating rink without bringing it forward to the board.
Either board.
Boards.
Oh, either board.
Either.
So,
No, and Vinny and I have said, maybe we got over our skis.
yeah,
And it's just, like I said on the phone, we get caught up in the moment and, seeing something and believing in it. Yeah, I'm guilty of it. And for that, I apologize. I'm not, nothing was ever done vindictively or maliciously. Never in a million years did I think that the board would not agree with me. I just wholeheartedly went ahead and did it, and I apologize for that. I really do.
well, you're taking all the blame upon yourself, so I don't know. You just happen to be the messenger and you carried the ball for the team that, authorized you to do that. So, it just,
Well, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong.
Well, can I real quick, cause where do we go from here? Cause there has to be a built-in trust here.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part. I know you have a lot of years here where there wasn't. I totally got it.
yeah.
It's
I've been burned
real.
more than once, and
Yeah.
maybe I'm cynical. but
No, you're right.
I would like to
I
see-
talked to you about it.
I'd like to see something in writing from that board to say that this was allowable, because it's just.
Well, what his word, and I can get him to put something in a form of an email or something like that. What his words were is sometimes as a mayor, you have to make a call and you have to make a quick call. Things happen fast and you can't always wait. That's what he said. I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm just
Well,
telling you what he said. He didn't do it, Mayor, you didn't do anything wrong. Just next time you're gonna want some more oversight or some more communication.
So I think in Jose's words, right, what do we want that communication to look like going forward?
Mhm.
Right, is it, if you have an idea, do you email us all? Are you gonna do separate phone calls? Like what would we all like? I mean, to be on, is it okay for us to all be on an email discussing these things?
We can't make any decisions.
I don't
but-
think anybody should
Decisions.
go out and spend $50,000 without it coming before a board at a meeting with a vote. I don't think it's a phone call. I don't, and that was $50,000 of
Right.
occupancy tax money. Then there's another 150. That's just, I gotta see these lights lit up because they don't look like much right now not being plugged in. That's for 1 year, at least $150,000.
Well, I think that's like what we're saying is, I think going forward, right? If Ray, Jose, Joe, someone has this idea to send it out in some form of communication. And if you're like, guys, you can't get $50,000, go spend this without board approval. I think we need a board approval for this. Then we've already hit that, right? So this way it doesn't happen again.
I would say there's gotta be like, Julie, isn't there like the common rules and steps? to do
My
this stuff?
understanding was that the joint, my understanding was that the joint meeting they did have a vote and it had a quorum, and that they're the ones that decide what happens with the joint funds. That they were appointed to that committee as representatives of the board.
Yeah.
And I think that it was done with 2 of each because we didn't want a quorum for everything. Just because then you have public notices, you can't do anything quickly at all. You can't
Sure.
do anything quick. You're just stalling and nothing happens. And when you have something like this, that's very quick, it just wouldn't have happened if we had to stop and try to find a time where everybody's available, or at least 3 people are available.
Well, I remember being the other side.
I
They showed
can't,
me
I
that
can't get
hand
special
drawing of
meetings
the
at
rink
the time
months
for
Right.
all of you guys.
So I don't know if
Yeah.
it was really like a last, I don't see it as it being like, the doors burst open on the plant, we need to call in something to fix it.
Mhm.
That's, yeah, emergency situation, but this, I don't.
Right, like, so my understanding of it is occupancy tax for the village is decided by the village board.
Mhm.
Joint is decided by the occupancy tax committee that have people appointed from each board. And then the town is the town. That's my understanding, is that there are 3 separate entities.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning experience. I think the 150 though is no longer, is it joint though? Because at the meeting, they had said it has to be
Had to
village.
be one or the other.
Right, so it's a learning experience, right? It's not
And
joint
we're
now,
all,
it's
you
about
know, we're
village.
both new. Vinny and I are both new at this.
Right.
And so I'm a little less new than him, but
So you're saying if it's coming from the joint, that it is like different powers?
Like I say, we don't have anything written into law
Oh,
about joint occupancy pad.
so we're making it
but
up
any-
as we're going along.
building the plane as we're flying.
Okay,
Well, yeah, there's nothing written in law about any of it. And like I said, my understanding is that when it comes to using our funds, we do have to have board approval.
right,
And as far as joint, we have representatives that vote for the village. They have representatives that vote for their town, and it has to have at least 3 people.
right. So the lights are village occupancy tax funds at this current time. Yeah,
Yes.
so.
Oh, wait, the lights? No, the
No.
lights, the
No,
lights
'cause they're
itself,
from,
it's coming from Warren County. It's none of the money's coming.
It's not,
We-
it's not our.
We had to put our.
It wasn't
we had
us
to-
paying
The
to put it in.
skating rink fund.
We had to
are
put our
the-
name on it, the money was given to us.
Yeah,
And we
coming
paid.
into our account.
Right, it was an additional ask,
Right.
though. It's not the allotment that we get
Yeah.
every year. This was the additional ask.
Yeah, I mean, I would be happy if we could just have more open communication, right? And to me, I check my email pretty frequently. I would love to be on an email with all of you where decisions aren't made, but we can like talk about things like this, where if you're like, I really want to do lights throughout the entire village, I'm really trying to push for it, I want to go for this. I want an ice skating rink, then I have the opportunity to ask, like, what does that look like? What does that entail? Do you have pictures of these lights? How long are they for? Like, so that I have the opportunity to be informed about what's happening.
Yeah, we'll, moving forward,
Yeah.
I'll agree to, not again, but,
All right, well, so that's why I decided to, meet with Dan once a month. In my own time to go in and talk to Dan, because he he's got his hands into everything, and I just can't keep up with the DRI and what goes on in our meetings, it just can't keep up with, what's going on. So I.
Well, it's part of the reason I had him here today is because I wanted you guys to.
I actually already got that, all of those in his office, so I already knew.
But it doesn't have to be on your own time either, because we still are regulated to write something quarterly of what we do with our time. Is that still?
Well,
It's all
that's-
my time.
That's it, oh, you mean at the, every year?
I mean,
At
outside
the
of
in the beginning, when people are, when,
Yeah.
yes, when it starts over, when the new year starts over, you have to do it
Right.
for your three months accounting.
I have a water emergency at home, so.
Yeah,
I hope we
so-
can wrap this up.
Mhm.
Do you wanna do a
Again-
vote on the skating rink in the wood park?
Is
Just
there
to
a
say that
point?
we have it as a village board?
It's already been done.
Yeah.
Why vote on it?
Like I said.
If you're saying the fact that the Joint Occupancy Tax Committee has the authority to do that.
That's
then why
my
not?
understanding,
Well-
that that's why that committee was done. I mean, I've
And I
never
think that
seen,
was our
I've never
understanding as a
seen-
committee member, but
I've
I
never,
never was told either way, you know what I mean? I think we just thought we had that authority, if we don't. But even if we do, moving forward, we're gonna have a conversation with our board,
Yes,
before any decisions are made final.
maybe it was not spelled out. I just assumed that's what it was because that's what we had done in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Vinny and I were just congratulating each other and, you know, this is a great idea, this is gonna be good for. And it culminated into this movement of what we believed in, what, you know.
You know, I feel that way about some things too, and I think I have great ideas that I would like to have people listen to, that they would be willing to spend $150,000 at the drop ahead, so I'd love to talk to you about.
Give me
that.
three of them, I wanna hear them. Not right now,
Not right
but,
now.
let's,
Updating,
Okay, yeah.
updating the visitor center, I told you about that. didn't I?
yes, I'm in your camp too, we've done some upgrades, but not enough.
Well, I work at the Welcome Center, it's not just the future, that's the present, that's the past.
Yeah.
Do we have someone on here? Do we have to ask them if they need to speak at all? I don't know. They didn't come in the beginning, so we don't have to offer them
Nope.
a speaker.
Not Vicky, I think.
so we have,
Yeah, so, water changes and transfers and audits.
we're gonna keep the transfers and audits separate from water changes, because I have to
Oh,
tell
okay,
you something.
all right, so, water changes, take a motion to approve. The water billing, final reads and November billing.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I can second.
Second by trustee Miller.
Okay,
All
so-
those in favor, say aye.
On the sheet for the transfers and audits, if you look at it, the transfers are not written in there. And I apologize for that error, that's my mistake. So there are 3 transfers that we need to make. The first one is we need to transfer $70 from the clerk's account to the mayor's account to pay for. Oh, what the heck was it that I don't even know what
Forget what it is.
it was like office supplies or so, I can't remember right off the top of my head what it was, but it's literally $70. I'm gonna take him from my account and put it in his, cause he didn't have enough money in his.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. And then in the retirement fund, we were short $18,641 in general fund, and we were short $4,160.40 in the water fund. The reason is when we're given estimates from the state, they're just that, estimates on what our retirement costs are gonna be.
Yeah.
This is, we got our actual bill and we're short those amounts, so we're gonna take them from the contingency fund. From general, we're gonna do $18,641 and contingency from the water. For $4,160.40.
How much is left in contingency?
Well, and we hadn't used any out of
Okay.
the out of, I don't think we've used any out of. Let me see, I've got my. report right here.
Just so we know.
We have. In 19 contingency, we have $45,196 in general,
Okay.
and then water.
Oops.
Did you have ballots? You can just come off under the second. Are they after the ballot or before it?
We had 22,549.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve those transfers. Can I get a
And the
second?
audit.
And the audits.
Second it.
Seconded by trustee Joe. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye. we're kind of running long here and I gotta really take care of this water issue at home. I will take a motion to adjourn if there's nothing else to discuss. So ordered. Thank you.
Has anyone ever said when that, anyone
Sorry.
said